Chapter 52. 30 Low-Grade Soul Crystals. Not a bad harvest. When Yi Chenfeng was searching for the spoils of war, he found 30 low-grade soul crystals in the black-clothed man's arms, as well as a sheepskin scroll that was slightly yellow and had restrictions on it. Could it be his soul skill? Yi Chenfeng raised his eyebrows slightly as he combined the inherited memories in the God-Eater brain to decipher the array patterns on the sheepskin scroll. Great! In about 3 breaths of time, Yi Chenfeng's eyes shot out beams of light. The power of the formation patterns was injected into the formation patterns with the power of his will, and he forcefully broke it open. In the next moment, a large number of small words appeared on the dim sheepskin scroll, forming a mysterious soul skill scroll. Mid-grade spirit ranks soul skill, soul shock finger. Yi Chenfeng quickly skimmed through the soul skills recorded on the scroll and was surprised to find that the sheepskin scroll was actually a mid-grade spirit rank soul skill. It was divided into 3 styles: Starburst, Starburst, and Soulbreaker. I was just worried about not having any soul skills to use, and you gave me one. I really don't know how to thank you. Yi Chenfeng revealed a faint smile as he immediately focused on memorizing it. After fusing with the God-Eater brain, Yi Chenfeng's perception had reached an unimaginable level. He only took an incense stick's worth of time to memorize the cultivation method of Soul Shock Finger and began to cultivate it. Soul Shock Stab was a mid-grade spirit rank soul skill, and it was difficult to cultivate. It was difficult for an ordinary person to cultivate it to the greater mastery realm, even after a year of hard work. However, Yi Chenfeng did not find any difficulty in cultivating it. It was as if success was achieved when the conditions were right, and he quickly grasped the essentials. A cool breeze blew, and the fallen leaves drifted down. Starburst. Looking at the falling leaves in front of him, Yi Chenfeng suddenly pointed his finger, and rays of green light shot out like stars that filled the sky, shattering the falling leaves in front of him. Yi Chenfeng's movements were smooth and unrestrained, without the slightest hesitation. After one finger, he pointed out another finger. A snake-like finger light flashed in the air, piercing through an ancient tree in the distance that would require 6 people to wrap their arms around it. Yi Chenfeng was slightly surprised and delighted as he looked at the cracked ancient trees in the distance. He did not expect his brain to be modified by the God-Eater brain and his comprehension ability to become so monstrous. In just half an hour, he had comprehended the first 2 moves of the frightening finger. Taking a deep breath, Yi Chenfeng's mind flashed with a flash of light. The cultivation method of the 3rd move of the frightening spirit finger, Soul Breaker, appeared in his mind. What is he doing? About an hour later, the black-clothed man woke up from his coma. When he crawled out of the pile of wood, he was stunned by the scene in front of him. In the next moment, a wisp of shock that came from the depths of his soul completely occupied his body, to the extent that he opened his mouth but was unable to utter a single word for a long time. Soul Breaker. Yi Chenfeng pointed out a finger. The cyan soul power that revolved around his fingertip suddenly accelerated, forming a 1-foot-long, spiraling finger light. With astonishing speed, it struck the cracked ancient tree in the distance. The tall ancient tree was smashed into pieces, filling the sky with fragments that danced in the air. He cultivated the frightening finger to the large success stage in a little over an hour. Is he really human? The black-clothed man stared at Yi Chenfeng, flabbergasted, as if he had seen a ghost. Half a year ago, the black-clothed man had spent almost all of his savings to exchange for the frightening finger from the Sky Fire Marshall House's Soul Skill Pavilion. In this half a year, he had spent most of his energy on cultivating the frightening finger. However, he had only managed to cultivate the first 2 moves of the frightening finger and was unable to comprehend the 3rd move, Soul Breaker. However, Yi Chenfeng had only used a little over an hour to completely comprehend it. This caused the black-clothed man to look at Yi Chenfeng with eyes full of reverence and fear. I'll return this frightening finger scroll to you. Yi Chenfeng did not dare to keep the frightening finger for himself, as he did not want to offend the Sky Fire Marshall House's rules. He threw the scroll back to the black-clothed man, who had a dull look in his eyes. His body flashed, and disappeared into the vast forest. Monster. There's actually a monster among this year's new students. The Sky Fire Marshal House is going to be lively. The black-clothed man's throat rolled as he stared at Yi Chunfeng's disappearing figure. He muttered to himself with a lingering fear. I've been delayed for more than an hour. I wonder how far Shang Guanping and Shun Tu have left me behind. Yi Chenfeng calculated the time and felt that Shang Guanping and Shun Tu had left him behind by quite a bit. He continued to increase his speed, chasing after the two of them while searching for Wen Fei Hong's whereabouts. At the same time, Shang Guanpeng, Shun Tu and Shun Tu Shui, who was wearing a long red robe and had a grave expression and an aura that was even sharper than Shang Guanpeng's, were scattered along the roads leading to the Sky Fire Marshal House. They were waiting for Yi Chunfeng to appear. Damn, what is that Yi Chunfeng doing? Why is he so slow? Could he have sensed something? Shun Tu, who was hiding in the bushes and patiently waiting for the afternoon, suddenly became anxious when he realized that Yi Chunfeng had not appeared. If he could not stop Yi Chunfeng and let him successfully pass through the Amethyst Mountain Range, then not only would he lose the Sky Fire Marshal House's reward, he would also be taught a lesson and lose all his face. This was something that Shun Tu did not want to see. Someone's coming. Just as Shun Tu was gradually losing his patience, suddenly, a light rustling of leaves entered his ears. Following the source of the sound, he saw Wen Fei Hong, who was cautiously walking towards him with light steps. Damn, why is there a piece of trash here? Shun Tu looked at Wen Fei Hong, who was getting closer and closer. His eyes revealed a trace of disdain. Regardless of status or strength, he firmly suppressed Wen Fei Hong. Therefore, he had never placed Wen Fei Hong in his eyes. Whoosh! Shun Tuye's body moved like a swift leopard. He leapt out from the lush bushes and intercepted Wen Fei Hong. Shun Tuye, what are you trying to do? Shun Tuye's sudden appearance gave Wen Fei Hong a fright. However, when he saw the person who intercepted him, Wen Fei Hong let out a sigh of relief and asked cautiously, Wen Fei Hong, if you honestly answer one of my questions, I will let you pass. If you don't know what's good for you, then don't blame me for being impolite. Shun Tuyi threatened with a gloomy expression. What do you want to ask? Although Wen Fei Hong was annoyed by Shun Tuye's attitude, he did not dare to offend him. He could only suppress the anger in his heart and ask in a low voice. Let me ask you, do you know the whereabouts of Yi Chunfeng? Shun Tuyi asked. I don't know. I did not meet him. Wen Fei Hong shook his head and said, Really? You're not lying to me? As he spoke, a powerful, baleful aura was emitted from Shun Tuye's body. It locked onto Wen Fei Hong and coldly questioned him. I can swear that I really did not meet Yi Chunfeng in the Purple Cloud Mountain Range. Wen Fei Hong was only a rank 6 spiritual beast. He could not withstand the impact of Shun Tuye's baleful aura and said with a pale face, Is that so? Shun Tuyi said with a gloomy expression. An ominous glint continuously shot out from his eyes. Shun Tuyi, why are you in such a hurry to find me? Could it be that you can't wait to fight with me? Chapter 53. Yi Chunfeng, you're finally here. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Looking at Yi Chunfeng, who was slowly walking over, Shun Tuyi hurriedly crushed the sensing stone that he had hidden in his clothes. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Shun Tuyi, I have no intention of interfering in the matter between you and Yi Chunfeng. I'll take my leave first. Seeing the two of them at daggers drawn, Wen Fei Hong felt deeply uneasy. He wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. It's too late. No one can leave now. Shun Tuyi said domineeringly. Shun Tuyi, what are you trying to do? Don't tell me you want to kill me? Wen Fei Hong said with an ugly expression, I'm warning you. If anything happens to me, the Sky Fire Marshal House will not let you off. Wen Fei Hong, I can give you a chance. If you're willing to join forces with me to delay Yi Chunfeng, I'll let you go immediately. If you don't agree, then this day next year will be the day you die. Shun Tuyi's eyes rolled slightly as he coldly threatened. Really? The uneasy Wen Fei Hong raised his eyebrows and said doubtfully, Wen Fei Hong, this is your only chance to live. If you don't take it, I'll be the first to kill you. Shun Tui threatened with killing intent. Seeing the wavering Wen Fei Hong, Yi Chen-feng was unmoved. He patiently waited for Wen Fei Hong to make his choice. If Wen Fei Hong really chose to help Shun Tui deal with him, then Yi Chen-feng would have no more worries and kill him with all his might. Shun Tui, swear that if I help you deal with Yi Chen-feng, you'll let me go. Wen Fei Hong made up his mind and looked at Shun Tui with a burning gaze as he said loudly, "All right, I swear that if you help me deal with Yi Chen-feng, I'll let you go." Shun Tui swore in front of everyone. "I hope you're not lying to me. Otherwise, I won't let you go even if I become a ghost." Hearing Shun Tui swear in front of everyone, Wen Fei Hong's uneasy heart calmed down a lot. "Wen Fei Hong, I thought you were a character. I didn't expect your intelligence to be so low." Yi Chen-feng shook his head and said, "Shun Tui swore to let you go, but will his companions let you go? If something really happened to me, would they be stupid enough to leave a scourge like you behind to threaten them?" Hearing Yi Chen-feng's words, Wen Fei Hong's expression changed greatly. He knew that Yi Chen-feng was right. If something happened to Yi Chen-feng, Shun Tui would definitely kill him to silence him. "Wen Fei Hong, don't listen to his nonsense. Since I've already sworn an oath, I won't harm you." Shun Tui didn't dare to face Yi Chen-feng alone, so he defended himself loudly. However, Wen Fei Hong was already a bird startled by the twang of a bow. He knew that his only way out was to forcefully break through the encirclement. He quickly turned around and fled towards the shrubbery at the side. "Where are you going?" Just as Wen Fei Hong was about to leap into the lush shrubbery and escape, a deep voice suddenly entered his ears. Shangguan Peng, who was tall and sturdy and wielded a pair of heavy axes, and Shinda Shui, who was dressed in a blood-red robe and whose appearance was somewhat similar to Shinta Yi, arrived in time and stopped Wen Fei Hong, who was trying to escape. "Cousin, Shangguan Peng, stop that brat. Don't let him escape." Seeing that Shun Tushui and Shangguan Peng had arrived in time at the crucial moment, Shun Tui was overjoyed and shouted loudly, "No, don't kill me. As long as you let me go, I'm willing to agree to any of your conditions." In order to survive, Wen Fei Hong gave up his dignity and bitterly begged for mercy. Facing Wen Fei Hong's begging, Shangguan Peng was unmoved. Wielding the heavy axes, he launched a fierce attack at Wen Fei Hong, forcing him to retreat continuously. "Go to hell." Breaking through Wen Fei Hong's soul power defense, Shangguan Peng combined his axes. A blazing axe ray fell from the sky, directly splitting Wen Fei Hong's body into two halves. "Shin Tui, in order to get rid of me, you guys have really put in a lot of effort." Yi Chen-feng glanced at Wen Fei Hong's corpse, which was split from the middle, lying in a pool of blood. There was no change in his expression as he spoke in a low voice. "It's too late to be afraid now." Shun Tui sneered and said, "From a moment you offended me, your fate was already decided. But don't worry, I'll give you a quick death." "Shun Tui, I've realized that you're as naive as Wen Fei Hong." Yi Chen-feng shook his head. Rays of green light were emitted from his body. "Rank 1 Beast Illusionist, you've broken through to Rank 1 Beast Illusionist." Seeing the faint green light emitted from Yi Chen-feng's body, Shun Tui and Shangguan Peng's eyes widened, revealing looks of disbelief. They couldn't imagine that Yi Chen-feng actually had the time to break through while crossing the Purple Cloud mountain range. A trace of uneasiness arose in their hearts. "Isn't it just a Rank 1 Beast Illusionist brat? What's there to be afraid of?" Shin Tushui had never experienced how terrifying Yi Chen-feng was, so he didn't put him in his eyes at all. Blood toad fuse. With a thought from Shun Tushui, a blood-red giant toad, covered in disgusting lumps, appeared on his body. It emitted a sound wave that caused one's eardrums to slightly vibrate as it locked onto Yi Chen-feng. Rank 3 Beast Illusionist. Sensing Shun Tushui's strength, Yi Chen-feng's face revealed a trace of seriousness. Although Yi Chen-feng's strength had increased by a lot, and he had comprehended the mid-grade spirit rank soul skill, Shun Tushui was a genius from the Heavenly Fire Martial House. He was a great threat to him. Furthermore, with Shangguan Peng and Shun Tui eyeing him covetously, Yi Chen-feng knew that he had to seize the initiative, or else it would be very dangerous. Brat, if there's a next life, remember to wipe your eyes. There are some people you can't afford to offend. After condensing the blood toad, Shun Tushue revealed a sinister expression. With a thought, the blood toad that was floating in midair jumped and appeared in front of Yi Chenfeng. In the next moment, the blood toad's huge body suddenly expanded. A powerful sound wave was emitted from the blood toad's bloody mouth. It was like a surging river that bombarded Yi Chenfeng. 10,000 gene of strength break. Suddenly facing the blood toad's sound wave attack, Yi Chenfeng didn't dodge. Instead, he erupted with an astonishing 10,000 gene of strength to meet it head-on. Boom! When the two powerful forces collided, a deafening explosion immediately erupted. The powerful rebounding force shattered the surrounding ancient trees, turning them into fragments that filled the sky. Cracks also appeared on the ground. Wind wing slash. Ancient spirit hand. While Yi Chenfeng and Shun Tushue were fighting, Shangwan Peng and Shun Tushue immediately used their soul skills to attack Yi Chenfeng. As the two powerful soul skills attacked, Yi Chenfeng's pupils shrank. The cultivation method of fulgurating shadow flashed through his mind. He instinctively took 3 extremely strange steps and dodged the 2 soul skills before retreating to the side. These 3 steps were the essence of fulgurating shadow. However, to cultivate fulgurating shadow, other than comprehending its essence, one also had to comprehend its concept to be able to condense a speed shadow. I've underestimated you. Seeing Yi Chenfeng's strange steps, Shun Tushue raised his brows and revealed a trace of astonishment on his arrogant face. Cousin, this brat is very strange. Let's attack together. We must eliminate him today. Otherwise, if this matter is exposed, we will be in trouble. Shun Tushue was even more astonished. He couldn't accept that Yi Chenfeng had not only broken through in a few hours, but also grasped a strange step. All right. Chapter 54. Following Yi Chenfeng's shout, his battle intent rose to the peak. All the muscles in his body vibrated, and a terrifying physical strength spread out in all directions with his body as the center. Feeling the battle intent and strength surging out from Yi Chenfeng's body, Shun Tushue's expression finally changed. This was because even he was unable to release such a terrifying strength. He knew that he had underestimated Yi Chenfeng. Swish, raising his strength to the peak, Yi Chenfeng's feet flashed, and he dodged Shun Tushue's shadowless rod at a very strange angle. He appeared in front of Shun Tuyi, who had turned pale with fright. Moon concealing slash. Sensing the killing intent in Yi Chenfeng's eyes, Shun Tuyi's heart trembled. Soul power surged into the long blade in his hand, and he used his soul skill at close range, wanting to force Yi Chenfeng to retreat. Star point. The long blade, pulsing with green soul power, slashed down, but Yi Chenfeng did not dodge. He extended his index finger, which was overflowing with soul power, to meet the attack. A finger flickering with starlight heavily hit Shun Tuyi's moon concealing slash, forcibly shattering the blade light that cut through the air. Pooh! Shun Tuyi's chest was hit by the remaining power of the star point, and a bloody wound was immediately left behind. Blood splattered everywhere. Yi Chenfeng originally had the chance to kill Shun Tuyi with this attack, but he did not have the confidence to kill Shun Tushue. Helpless, he could only injure Shun Tuyi. Wind wing slash. The moment Yi Chenfeng injured Shun Tuyi, Shangwan Peng's soul skill slashed down, slashing towards his back. Just as Yi Chenfeng was about to be struck by the 2 powerful axe lights, an illusory light flashed beneath his feet once again. His body slid like a living fish as he dodged Shangwan Peng's soul skill. 5,000 kilograms of strength. The moment Yi Chenfeng dodged, all the strength in his body surged into his fist like a violent tide, and he smashed it toward Shangwan Peng's chest. The wind from the fist whistled like a gale, causing Shangwan Peng to feel suffocated. Yi Chenfeng's fist had not yet arrived, but the qi had already hurt him. The terrifying power of the fist made Shangwan Peng's expression change greatly. He hurriedly placed the heavy axe in front of his chest to block Yi Chenfeng's attack. Bang! Yi Chunfeng's fist, which had compressed his strength to the extreme, heavily smashed onto the axe in front of Shang Wanpeng's chest. The powerful shock caused Shang Wanpeng's arm to go numb, and the heavy axe ruthlessly struck his chest. He felt a tightness in his chest and a sweetness in his throat. He was sent flying by the terrifying recoil and fell more than 10 meters away. His injuries were not light. Roaring technique. Shen Shui did not expect that Yi Chenfeng would be able to heavily injure Shang Wanpeng and Shen Yi in the blink of an eye. His expression turned abnormally ugly as a blood-toad phantom appeared behind him. A powerful sound wave shot out from his mouth and bombarded Yi Chenfeng. After being attacked by the roaring technique, Yi Chenfeng only felt his soul tremble. The blood in his body began to churn, and many of his meridians were damaged. His reaction became slightly sluggish. Shocking shadowless rod. Seizing this opportunity, Shintu Shui's shadowless rod appeared in his hand, enveloping the void. He lashed out at Yi Chenfeng's head in an attempt to smash it. Startling ray. At this critical moment, Yi Chenfeng instinctively reacted. A ray of light that was like a spirit snake flashed in the air and touched the overlapping shadowless rod. It offset a portion of the shocking shadowless rod's attack and slowed down the speed of the rod's attack. He dodged to the side in a thrilling manner. Kacha! The ground beneath Yi Chunfeng's feet was struck by the shocking, shadowless rod. Immediately, a several-meter-deep crack appeared. The powerful force caused the ground to tremble violently. Soul Scare Finger. How do you know the Soul Scare Finger that has never been taught to outsiders in my heavenly fire martial house? Furthermore, you have even cultivated it to the second stage. Shintu Shui recognized the Soul Scare Finger and knew its value. His face became even more gloomy as he questioned with an ice-cold voice. Yi Chunfeng, who was injured and had consumed a lot of energy, did not answer Shintu Shui's question. He quickly threw a soul recovery pill into his mouth. While recovering his exhausted soul power, he leaped toward the nearby bush in an attempt to quickly leave this place. Cousin, you must not let him escape. Otherwise, we will be in trouble. The heavily injured Shinti immediately shouted when he saw Yi Chunfeng trying to escape. Don't worry, he won't be able to escape. 8 steps overtaking Cicada. Shintu Shui used his speed soul skill, and his entire body suddenly increased in speed. With a few strides, he closed the distance between him and Yi Chenfeng. Roaring technique. After closing the distance, the blood-toad phantom appeared on his body once again. Rolling sound waves blasted through the layers of air and heavily bombarded Yi Chenfeng's body. After being continuously attacked by the roaring technique, Yi Chenfeng's meridians were severely damaged. Streams of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Go to hell. Shocking shadowless rod. Shintu Shui poured all of his soul power into the shadowless rod and used his strongest soul skill again to attack Yi Chenfeng. Soul Breaker. At the critical moment, Yi Chenfeng, who was prepared in advance, instantly recovered his senses. He poured all of his soul power into his right index finger and used the third move of the Soul Scare Finger, which was also the most powerful move. A foot-long soul-shattering finger ray that spun at high speeds struck the heaven-shocking shadowless staff, forcibly piercing through the stacked heaven-shocking staff ray. The remaining power shot towards Shintu Shui, whose expression had changed greatly. When the Soul Breaker finger struck the shadowless rod in front of Shintu Shui's chest, it immediately produced a powerful recoil. The recoil caused his arm to go numb and his palm to bleed. Soul Breaker Finger. You actually cultivated the Soul Scare Finger to the Great Mastery Realm. Who exactly are you? Shintu Shui exclaimed. He was shocked that Yi Chunfeng actually cultivated the extremely difficult Soul Breaker Finger to the Great Mastery Realm. Although he had been able to break Shintu Shui's attacks, Shintu Shui's strength had indeed brought him a great threat. After considering everything, Yi Chunfeng wanted to leave this troublesome place as soon as possible. Once he obtained the Juku Spirit Pill and increased his strength, he would slowly settle the score with them. After making his decision, Yi Chunfeng's body flashed, and he once again leapt towards the shrubbery at the side. Where do you think you're going? When Shinta Shui saw that Yi Chunfeng was continuing to flee, he suddenly threw the shadowless rod in his hand. Like a flash of light, it attacked Yi Chunfeng's back, forcing him to dodge. When Yi Chunfeng used the phantom displacement technique, and 2 streaks of light flashed under his feet, strangely dodging the shadowless rod's attack, Shinta Shui, who was using the 8-step cicada overtaking technique, closed in on him. His right palm shone with green soul power as he used his soul skill to attack Yi Chunfeng at close range. Soul Breaker. Seeing the incoming palm, Yi Chunfeng disregarded the damage to his meridians and used the Soul Breaker finger again. It consumed a lot of soul power, but its power was astonishing. It broke Shinta Shui's soul skill with 1 finger and forced him to retreat. Chapter 55. Pooh. Yi Chunfeng used shape-shifting phantom and ran for half an hour in the purple cloud mountains. He could no longer hold on and spat out a mouthful of blood, his face turning pale. If he had not taken a soul recovery pill earlier, he would not have been able to withstand the exhaustion of using the frightening soul finger. It would have been even more difficult to escape Shinta Shui's pursuit. However, even after taking the soul recovery pill, Yi Chunfeng's injuries were still serious. If Yi Chunfeng's body had not been modified by the 6-meridian divine shield, his meridians might have been torn apart by Shinta Shui's sonic soul technique. Shinta Shui. Shinta Yi, Shengwan Peng. I will definitely take revenge on you in the future. Yi Chunfeng wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and used the soul-devouring art to absorb the remaining medicinal effects of the soul recovery pill. He continued to cross the purple cloud mountains and slowly approached the Sky Fire Marshal house. What do we do? That kid escaped. We are in big trouble. Shinta Yi's forehead was covered in cold sweat as he felt uneasy after failing to kill Wen Yin. Once the matter of them killing Wen Fei Hong and trying to kill Yi Chunfeng was exposed, the Sky Fire Marshal house would not let them off even if the 2 family heads came forward. Don't panic. Shinta Shui's eyes flashed as he said in a low voice. Our first task is to get rid of his corpse so that the Sky Fire Marshal house cannot find any evidence. As for killing Yi Chunfeng, you don't have to worry too much. My task is to stop him. Besides Elder Liu, there is also Elder Yu who has a good relationship with my Shinta family clan. When the Sky Fire Marshal house's elders ask about it, I will take responsibility for this matter. You just have to bite the bullet and deny it. We can only do this now. Shinta Yi and Shengwan Peng looked at each other and saw the worry in each other's eyes. Why? Are you worried about his revenge in the future? Shinta Shui noticed the worry in their eyes and asked with a cold expression. Yi Chunfeng's growth rate is too fast. If we give him a certain amount of time to grow, even if we manage to avoid this calamity, it will be very dangerous in the future. Shinta nodded and said worriedly, That's right. Before we crossed the Amethyst Mountain Range this morning, his overall strength was probably inferior to mine. But now his strength is enough to crush me. If we allow him to enter the Sky Fire Marshal house to cultivate for a period of time, he will become our nightmare, Shengwan Peng said with a grave expression. If he had known earlier that this would be the outcome, even if he was given 100 guts, he would not take the risk to kill Yi Chunfeng. Don't worry, I won't let him enter the Sky Fire Marshal house. Shinta Shui's eyes flashed with an ominous glint as he spoke in a low voice. Cousin, do you have any good ideas? Shinta Yi raised his eyebrows and asked expectantly. Just based on that brat's unauthorized practice of the Marshal House's soul skills, I can use the Marshal House's rules to deal with him. Shinta Shui said viciously. All right, the 2 of you shouldn't be together. Wait for me to reach the Sky Fire Marshal house before you appear. Cousin, I'll leave everything to you, Shinta Shui said with a heavy heart as he nodded. As the sun set in the west, the afterglow poured down. The beautiful Amethyst Mountain Range was speckled with golden specks of light. Green trees, wild flowers, small streams, and boulders outlined a beautiful picture. Elder Liu, didn't you say that in this batch of students, there's a youth called Yi Chunfeng who is a rare genius that only appears once in 100 years? But at this time, why haven't we seen him cross the Amethyst Mountain Range and arrive here? Beside the white-haired elder Lu, an old man with a slender figure, a square face, and a clear scar at the corner of his left, I said coldly as he looked at the forest in the distance. From his tone, one could tell that he did not have a good relationship with Elder Lu. Speed does not represent everything. Comprehension and physical condition are the most important. Elder Lu said with a calm expression, I think highly of this Yi Chenfeng. Is that so? The square-faced old man sneered. I hope that the genius you speak of is not someone with an undeserved reputation. As he spoke, a figure suddenly passed through a patch of shrubbery and appeared before their eyes. Seeing the approaching figure, Elder Lu revealed a faint smile. Elder Yu, isn't this Yi Chenfeng here? He is Yi Chenfeng. Elder Yu's pupil shrank as he shot his gaze towards Yi Chenfeng. When he saw that Yi Chenfeng's clothes were severely damaged and his face was deathly pale, he could not help but reveal a trace of mockery. Elder Lu, this is the genius that you keep praising? He's not much. At least his results in the first 3 rounds are much better than Shangwan Peng and Shen Tuyi, who you think highly of. Elder Lu retorted without holding back. You. Hearing Elder Lu's retort, Elder Yu was speechless. His face was ashen, and even his gaze towards Yi Chenfeng became gloomy. Chenfeng, why are your injuries so serious? What did you encounter in the Amethyst mountain range? After approaching, Elder Lu discovered that Yi Chenfeng's injuries were not light, and the soul force in his body was extremely chaotic. He revealed a trace of astonishment as he asked with concern, Elder Lu, I was just about to report to you. When I was crossing the Amethyst mountain range, I was ambushed by Shangwan Peng, Shen Tuyi, and a senior from the Sky Fire Marshal House. When Fei Hong, who was with me, was unfortunately killed by them. Yi Chenfeng reported, giving a simple account of what had happened. What? Hearing Yi Chenfeng's report, Elder Lu and Elder Yu revealed expressions of shock. Following that, Elder Lu's face darkened as he roared furiously. They have guts. For their own selfish gains, they actually willfully killed the innocent. I will not forgive them. Elder Lu, this is only his side of the story. Let's wait for Shangwan Peng and Shen Tuyi to arrive before making a decision. Elder Yu's eyes flickered as he spoke. Obviously, what Yi Chenfeng had just reported was out of his control. If Yi Chenfeng was telling the truth, Shangwan Peng and Shen Tuyi would not be able to escape death. This was something he absolutely did not wish to see. Don't worry, I will give them a chance to explain themselves. However, if this matter is true, I will immediately execute them. Elder Lu said in a low voice. Chenfeng, this soul recovery pill is for you. Take it and heal your injuries properly. I will definitely uphold justice for you. Elder Lu took out a soul recovery pill from his Qinquan bag and handed it to Yi Chenfeng as he promised. Thank you, Elder Lu. Yi Chenfeng received the soul recovery pill and raised his head to swallow it. He then circulated the soul-devouring art and quickly refined and absorbed the pill to heal his injuries. After approximately half an incense's time, a figure emerged from the lush shrubs. This person was neither Shen Tuyi nor Shangwan Peng. Instead, it was the scheming Shen Tu Shui who had already thought of a way to deal with the situation. Chapter 56. Shen Tu Shui. Were you also involved in the assassination of Chenfeng? Elder Lu's face sank as he looked at Shen Tu Shui with a burning gaze and asked in a dignified manner. Assassination? Shen Tu Shui pretended to be surprised and said, Elder Lu, are you mistaken? I did indeed exchange blows with Junior Brother Yi, but that was my mission. How can you call it an assassination? Is that so? Elder Lu asked in a low voice. Then let me ask you, where are Shangwan Peng and Shen Tuyi? Were they not with you? No, I did not meet them in the Purple Cloud Mountains. Shen Tu Shui shook his head and said, Shen Tu Shui, I advise you not to lie to me. If not, even if the Shen Tu family clan appears, they will not be able to protect you. Elder Lu warned coldly. Elder Lu, please believe me. There really was a reason why I exchanged blows with Junior Brother Yi. Shen Tu Shui loudly defended himself. Shen Tu Shui, you keep saying that there was a reason. What is the reason? Elder Yu asked from the side. Because I accidentally discovered that junior brother Yi knows the middle spirit rank soul skill, soul shaking finger, which is never taught to outsiders. Furthermore, he has cultivated it to the large success stage. Therefore, I want to capture him and investigate this matter. Shen Tu Shui respectfully reported. Yi Chenfeng, let me ask you, did Shen Tu Shui wrongly accuse you? Do you know my martial house's soul-shaking finger? Elder Yu's eyes revealed a stern look as he loudly questioned. Elder Lu, who was standing at the side, also frowned. He didn't expect such a turn of events. The Heavenly Fire Martial House had strict control over soul techniques and soul skills. They did not allow disciples to privately teach them to outsiders. Those who violated the rules would not only be expelled from the Heavenly Fire Martial House, they would also be severely punished. If what Shen Tu Shui said was true, then the consequences would be very serious. Yi Chenfeng, who had recovered from his injuries, stood up from the ground and slowly said, "This frightening soul finger was a spoil of war I obtained from a Sky Fire Martial House senior when I defeated him in the Purple Cloud Mountains. However, I have already cultivated the frightening soul finger to the large success stage, so I returned the soul skill scroll to him." Impudent. Elder Yu's expression darkened as he shouted, "Yi Chenfeng, you still dare to deceive us at this time. Do you believe that I won't punish you severely right now? Elder, may I know what crime I have committed? Why did you punish me so severely?" Yi Chenfeng could not understand how he had offended Elder Yu. Why was he so against him? "You're still playing dumb." Elder Yu's face was gloomy as he questioned, "Let me ask you, how long did you spend cultivating the frightening soul finger?" "More than an hour," Yi Chenfeng said frankly. "Bullshit. Mastering frightening finger to the mastery stage in 1 hour? Do you think we're all fools?" Elder Yu rebuked angrily. Even the top geniuses of the Sky Fire Martial House wouldn't be able to reach the large success stage of the frightening spirit finger within an hour, not to mention Yi Chenfeng, who didn't seem to have any amazing results. "If you don't believe me, you can find that senior and ask him. Then you'll know if I'm lying or not," Yi Chenfeng said indifferently, without a trace of panic on his face. "No need to go through so much trouble. I'll give you a scroll of the mid-grade spirit rank soul skill, Blood Serpent Seal. You can cultivate it in front of us. If you can cultivate the Blood Serpent Seal to the large success stage in 2 hours, not only will I believe you, I'll also give you the reward you deserve. But if you can't do it, then don't blame me for being impolite." Elder Yu said coldly as he took out the Blood Serpent Seal scroll. "Elder Yu, this Blood Serpent Seal may only have one move, but its power and cultivation difficulty is comparable to a high-grade spirit rank soul skill. The difficulty of your test is too high," Elder Lu said with furrowed brows. "Elder Lu, do you still believe his nonsense at a time like this?" Elder Yu snorted and said, "Cultivate the frightening soul finger to the large success stage in 1 hour? Aren't you afraid of biting your tongue when you talk big? How about this, Elder Yu? If I can cultivate the Blood Serpent Seal in 2 hours, you'll reward me with 2 more Juka Spirit Pills. If I can't do it, I'll be at your disposal." Although Yi Chenfeng could tell from Elder Lu's words that the Blood Serpent Seal was far more difficult than the frightening soul finger, he was still full of confidence in the soul-devouring brain. And, looking at Yi Chenfeng's confident face, the mocking smile on Elder Yu's face instantly froze. "What? Elder Yu, you don't dare?" Yi Chenfeng said with a smile. Since Elder Yu didn't care about his status and went against him, Yi Chenfeng didn't have any misgivings. As for Elder Yu's revenge in the future, he wasn't worried. As long as he displayed astonishing talent and became the focus of the Heavenly Fire Martial House, Elder Yu wouldn't dare to take revenge on him. "All right, I promise you." When he thought about how, with his talent and strength, it took him more than 10 days to cultivate the Blood Serpent Seal to the Great Accomplishment Realm, he did not believe that Yi Chenfeng could cultivate the Blood Serpent Seal to the Great Accomplishment Realm in 2 hours, so he immediately agreed. "Chenfeng, are you sure?" Elder Lu asked in surprise when he heard Yi Chenfeng's suggestion. "It should be about right." After saying that, Yi Chenfeng took the Blood Serpent Seal scroll from Elder Yu's hands. He sat cross-legged on the ground and said, "I'll have to trouble Elder Lu to protect me. Don't worry, with I here, no one will disturb you. Elder Lu nodded and guaranteed. Thank you. Yi Chunfeng responded to Elder Lu with a grateful smile. He released his soul power into the scroll and quickly memorized it. Yi Chunfeng, I don't know if you're really stupid or just pretending to be stupid. You actually dared to make such a bet with Elder Yu. With Elder Yu's methods, he will definitely make you regret being born into this world. Shen Tuxue looked at Yi Chunfeng with schadenfreude. He could already foresee his tragic fate. Time passed minute by minute. After about half an hour, Shangguan Peng and Shen Tu arrived one after another. After another hour, Feng Xiao, Ji Qingxue, and Shen Tu Bing also successfully passed through the Purple Cloud Mountains and arrived at the outskirts of the Heavenly Fire Marshal House. When they heard about Yi Qinfeng's ridiculous actions from Shen Tuxue, other than Ji Qingxue, the rest of them revealed looks of ridicule. They didn't believe that he could cultivate a mid-grade spirit rank soul skill in 2 hours. There was still an incense stick's worth of time left before the 2 hours were up. Suddenly, Yi Chunfeng, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground, opened his eyes. His hands were like lotuses as they quickly formed complicated hand seals. As the hand seals were formed, Yi Chunfeng's soul power crazily surged into his hands, causing ripples to appear in the air. In the next moment, a lifelike blood snake appeared in Yi Chunfeng's palm. As the hand seals were formed, it grew bigger and bigger. What? Seeing the blood snake condensed in Yi Chunfeng's palm, Elder Lu, Elder Yu, Shen Tuxue, and the rest all opened their eyes and mouths wide. It was as if they had seen a ghost. Blood snake seal. Although Yi Chunfeng was a little rusty at forming the seal for the first time, he still successfully formed the seal and sent it out with force. Rumble, the blood snake instantly turned into an extremely powerful blood seal. It dragged a long blood tail and smashed into a hard boulder in the distance. It instantly shattered the boulder and smashed a large crater in the ground. Monster! This Yi Chunfeng is a monster. Chapter 57. Many thanks to Elder Yu for giving me the blood serpent seal. Looking at the flabbergasted Elder Yu, Yi Chunfeng spat out a mouthful of turbid air and deliberately said, I am very satisfied with this power. With the power of the blood serpent seal, its value definitely surpassed that of the frightening soul finger. Even if the Heavenly Fire Marshal House's older disciples wanted to exchange for it in the Spirit Skill Pavilion, they would have to pay a hefty price. However, not only did Yi Chunfeng not pay any price to learn the blood serpent seal, he also won 2 priceless 9th rank 9 Chu spirit pills from Elder Yu in front of everyone. This was undoubtedly a public slap to Elder Yu's face. Yi Chunfeng, answer me honestly. Have you ever cultivated the blood serpent seal? Elder Yu took a deep breath and suppressed the shock and anger in his heart as he asked in a low voice. No. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and said, if Elder Yu doesn't believe me, you can give me another spirit rank mid-grade soul skill to test me. Actually, a spirit rank high-grade soul skill is also fine. Yi Chunfeng paused for a moment before saying, You. Elder Yu was rendered speechless by Yi Chunfeng. A spirit rank high-grade soul skill was extremely precious. Even if he was an elder of the Heavenly Fire Marshal House, he could only memorize it in the Spirit Skill Pavilion and was unable to bring it out. Chingfeng, how did you do it? How can you cultivate a soul skill so quickly? At this moment, Elder Lu still couldn't believe that Yi Chunfeng had only used 2 hours to cultivate the blood serpent seal. I don't know either. Every time I concentrate on cultivating, it's very easy for me to enter a mysterious state. Very quickly, I'm able to comprehend the essence of a soul skill. Yi Chunfeng explained what he had thought of long ago. Could it be that Yi Chunfeng has just entered the Netherworld concept? Elder Lu guessed in his heart. The Netherworld concept was an extremely mysterious concept. Once one entered it, one's cultivation speed would greatly increase. However, many people were unable to enter the Netherworld concept even once in their lifetime. Genius. An absolute genius. Chunfeng, your talent is the highest I have ever seen. Even in the Heavenly Fire sect, it would be difficult to find someone with your talent. You deserve to be first in this assessment. Elder Lu said excitedly, not concealing his admiration for Yi Chunfeng. Elder Lu, since I have proven my innocence, can we talk about Shen Tuye's group's assassination of me and Wen Fei Hong? Yi Chenfeng said coldly as he looked at Shang Wanpeng, Shen Shui, and Shen Tiyi, whose expressions were ugly. When they saw Yi Chenfeng's murderous gaze, the hearts of Shen Tuyi and the other two trembled. After witnessing Yi Chenfeng's monstrous talent, the three of them finally felt fear. As long as Yi Chenfeng was given time, Shengu Shui and the others believed that he would grow to a level that they could only look up to. If he wanted to crush them, it would be as easy as crushing an ant. Don't worry, if what you said is true, my heavenly fire marshal house will definitely give you a satisfactory explanation. Elder Lu nodded and repeatedly promised. Yi Chenfeng, don't slander us. When did we kill you and Wen Fei Hong? If you have the ability, call Wen Fei Hong out and confront him on the spot. Shen Tuyi took a deep breath and suppressed the fear in his heart as he loudly reprimanded. I am indeed unable to call Wen Fei Hong out because he has already been cruelly killed by you. Yi Chenfeng said in a low voice as he calmly looked at Shengu Yi and the others. Wen Fei Hong is dead. After hearing this news, the most shocked person was Ji Qingxue, who knew some inside information. Her gaze towards Yi Chenfeng changed greatly. Yi Chenfeng, although I don't know why you're trying to frame us on purpose, please take out the evidence before you frame us. Otherwise, don't slander us here and frame us, Shang Wanpeng said with an ugly expression. Since you want evidence, I'll fulfill your wish. As he spoke, Yi Chenfeng took out the memory stone that Ji Qingxue had given him and said, I've secretly recorded the matter of you killing Wen Fei Hong and trying to kill me. I'm not afraid that you won't admit to it. Seeing the memory stone in Yi Chenfeng's hand, Shengu Shui, Shengu Yi, and Shang Wanpeng's expressions changed greatly. Among them, Shengu Yi, who had the weakest will, had large amounts of cold sweat on his forehead as he panicked. Why aren't you speaking? Seeing the three's pale faces, Yi Chenfeng said with a smile, Didn't you say that I was slandering you? Why are you afraid now? The three of you sure are audacious. Tell me the truth. If you continue to hide the truth, I'll kill you. Seeing the change in their expressions, Elder Lu's face sank. A powerful, baleful aura radiated from his body as he shouted loudly, Junior Yi, we know our wrongs. Please be magnanimous and spare us. As long as Junior Yi agrees, we're willing to spend an astronomical price to buy the memory stone in Junior Ye's hand to make up for our mistakes. Just as the situation became unprecedentedly tense, and Elder Lu wanted to use torture to extort a confession, Shengu Shui suppressed his voice into a line and transmitted it into Yi Chenfeng's ears. Astronomical price? What is this astronomical price you speak of? Yi Chenfeng's eyebrows twitched slightly as he became slightly interested. He transmitted his voice in response. 500 low-grade soul crystals. Shengu Shui clenched his teeth and transmitted his voice. This is the astronomical price you speak of? Don't make a fool of yourself. Yi Chenfeng sneered as he transmitted his voice. Then what do you want? Shengu Shui had never felt so aggrieved before. However, when he thought of the consequences of this matter, he could only grit his teeth and swallow it, allowing Yi Chenfeng to blackmail him. 2,000 low-grade soul crystals, a heaven and earth spirit herb that can replenish blood, as well as a cosmic bag. Yi Chenfeng demanded an exorbitant price. No, I cannot satisfy your conditions with my own ability. Shengu Shui transmitted his voice in annoyance. If that's the case, then forget it. Elder Lu, I wonder if you can pass the memory stone in my hand to Lord Prefecture Lord and get him to uphold justice for us. Yi Chenfeng said. Wait, I promise you. Shengu Shui transmitted his voice weakly. If he really alarmed the Prefecture Lord, then even if the Shengu family clan stepped in, they would not be able to protect them. I don't like to take credit. If you can't give it to me immediately, then don't blame me for not giving you a chance. Yi Chenfeng transmitted his voice as he warned coldly. I know. Shengu Shui nodded his head heavily as he replied. Chenfeng, give me the memory stone in your hand. Elder Lu demanded. Elder Lu, if the three of them are willing to sincerely apologize to me and compensate me with something, then I can spare them. Yi Chenfeng's tone changed as he said slowly. That's right, Elder Lu. The three of them were probably muddle-headed for a moment. As long as Yi Chen-feng is willing to forgive them, it's not impossible to give them a chance to turn over a new leaf. Elder Yu saw that the situation had taken a turn for the better, so he echoed from the side. Then, what about when Fei Hong's revenge? Elder Lu said with a serious expression. As for one Fei Hong's matter, I think it's better for the Xingu family clan, the Shangwan family clan, and the Wen family to negotiate. I believe the two family clans will give the Wen family an explanation. Elder Yu said, Shengfeng, don't have any burdens in your heart. Tell me honestly, are you really willing to give them a chance to turn over a new leaf? Elder Lu asked again, seeking his opinion. Before the assessment, I had made a bet with Xingu Yi and Shangwan Peng. If my results were better than theirs, they would give me the reward. If they are willing to fulfill their promise, Elder Yu will give me the 2 Juku spirit pills that he lost to me. Together with the conditions that he just agreed to, I will forgive them and guarantee that I will not pursue this matter in the future. Yi Chen-feng said with a nod. You, hearing that Yi Chen-feng really dared to ask for 2 Juku spirit pills from him, Elder Yu's face turned ashen. However, in front of so many people, he was indeed embarrassed to go back on his word. Chapter 58. Elder Yu, can you lend me 1,500 low-grade soul crystals? Shintu Shui glanced at Elder Yu, who was on the verge of going berserk, and braced himself to ask, Shintu Shui, what do you want so many low-grade soul crystals for? Elder Yu roared with a gloomy expression. Although he was an elder of the Sky Fire Marshal House and had a monthly supply of soul crystals, 1,500 low-grade soul crystals was not a small amount. He was unable to take it out in a short period of time. I agree to compensate Yi Chen-feng with 2,000 low-grade soul crystals. Shintu Shui clenched his teeth and said, 2,000 low-grade soul crystals. Elder Yu sucked in a breath of cold air and said, Brat, you are too ruthless. Ruthless? 2,000 low-grade soul crystals for 3 lives. I wonder if this deal is worth it. Yi Chen-feng said indifferently. Elder Yu, if you are willing to lend me 1,500 low-grade soul crystals, I promise to return you 1,600 within 3 days. After being caught by Yi Chen-feng, the sullen Shintu Shui had no choice but to compromise. No, I don't have a single one. Elder Yu felt that he was extremely unlucky. Not only did he offend a genius with boundless potential for no reason, he also lost 2 priceless 9 Chu spirit pills for no reason. Now, Shintu Shui was asking to borrow soul crystals to compensate Yi Chen-feng in front of so many people. This made Elder Yu so angry that his lungs were about to explode. He immediately refused. Shintu Shui, my patience is limited. If you can't take out the promised conditions, then don't blame me for not giving you a chance. Yi Chen-feng said indifferently as he looked at the sullen Shintu Shui, whose face was green and red. Give me an hour. I will return to the Sky Fire Marshal House to borrow. Shintu Shui clenched his teeth and said, All right, then I will give you an hour. If you're not back in an hour, then I won't be polite. Yi Chen-feng warned coldly. I will definitely be back. After saying that, the ashen-faced Shintu Shui flashed and disappeared under the setting sun. Elder Yu, can you give me those 2 Juku spiritual pills? As he watched Shintu Shui's departing figure, the corners of Yi Chen-feng's mouth slightly curled as a trace of coldness surfaced. He cast his gaze towards Elder Yu, whose expression was ugly, and said, Good, good, good. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, Elder Yu couldn't act shamelessly. What's more, he was afraid of Yi Chen-feng's talent. In desperation, he could only reluctantly give the 2 Juku spirit pills that he had kept for many years to Yi Chen-feng. Opening the jade box containing the Juku spirit pills, Yi Chen-feng only felt a refreshing medicinal fragrance coming from the 2 long-incised, milky white Juku spirit pills, which made him take a deep breath and feel refreshed. As expected of a 9th-grade medicinal pill, just the medicinal aroma alone is enough to lift one's spirit. If I consume it, it can at least raise my cultivation by 1 level. Yi Chen-feng kept the 2 Juku spirit pills close to his body. Looking at the gloomy Elder Yu, he said, Thank you for the medicine, Elder Yu. Elder Lu, there's nothing else for I to do here. I'll take my leave first. Elder Yu, whose heart was filled with anger, felt that if he stayed any longer, he might vomit blood because of Yi Chenfeng. He flicked his sleeves and left. Chenfeng, you have the best results in the Sky Fire Martial House's assessment. This Juku Spirit Pill is your reward. After Elder Yu left, Elder Lu began to distribute the rewards and gave Yi Chenfeng another Juku Spirit Pill. Shangguan Peng, Shinti, you are the second and third place finishers in the Sky Fire Martial House's assessment. This is your reward, the Earth Spirit Pill, White Jade Scarlet Sun Pill. After rewarding Yi Chenfeng, Elder Lu rewarded Shangguan Peng and Shinti Yi respectively. Shangguan Peng, Shinti Yi, the rewards in your hand should be mine, right? Just as Shangguan Peng and Shun Tu received their rewards, Yi Chenfeng's voice rang in their ears before their hands were even warm. Here you go. Regardless of whether Yi Chenfeng had something on them or Elder Lu as a witness, they did not dare to go back on their word. Left with no other choice, the two of them reluctantly handed over the 2 precious rank 8 medicinal pills to Yi Chenfeng. 3 9th ranked on and 2 8th ranked on. This kind of harvest made everyone's eyes turn red with envy. They were so jealous that they wanted to die. Yi Chenfeng, he really changed. Looking at the tall and straight figure of Yi Chenfeng, who seemed to have been reborn, Ji Qingxue suddenly realized that she didn't recognize him anymore. Feng Xiao, Ji Qingxue, Shinda Bing, you are the 4th to 6th place finishers in the Sky Fire Martial House's assessment. This is your reward. After rewarding the top 3 finishers, Elder Lu rewarded Ji Qingxue and the other 2. All right, I now announce that the 6 of you are officially disciples of the Sky Fire Martial House. Once Yi Chenfeng's matter is settled, you will follow me into the Martial House and complete the formalities. In the future, you will be able to cultivate in the Sky Fire Martial House. Elder Lu announced. Hearing Elder Lu's words, Feng Xiao and Ji Qingxue were slightly excited. Beside them, Shinta Bing was trembling in fear. She regretted provoking Yi Chenfeng. Time slowly passed. Seeing that 1 hour was almost up, the gloomy Shinta Shui finally returned. Yi Chenfeng, I brought you the things you wanted. However, before I give you the things, you must promise me that this matter will end here and that you will not mention it again in the future. Furthermore, you must give me the memory stone in your hands. The much more haggard Shintu Shui said coldly. In order to gather the things Yi Chenfeng wanted within an hour, he had paid an unimaginable price. It could be said that for the next few years, he would have to sell his life to someone else. All right, I promise you. After you give me the item, this matter will be over. In the future, if any one of us mentions this matter again, we will be struck by lightning and die a horrible death. Yi Chenfeng nodded and swore in front of everyone. I'll give you the things, but give me the memory stone. Hearing Yi Chenfeng swear in front of everyone, the coldness on Shinta Shui's face eased a little. He threw the Qinquan bag in his hand to Yi Chenfeng in exchange for the memory stone in his hand. That's right, Shinta Shui. Before I leave, I have to tell you something. Yi Chenfeng placed the Qinquan bag in his chest and called out to Shinta Shui, who was about to leave. He said, Actually, I lied to you. I did not use the memory stone to remember how you tried to kill me and when Fei home. What? Just as Yi Chenfeng finished speaking, Shinta Shui and the other two's expressions changed greatly. Shinta Shui hurriedly checked the memory stone and discovered that it was as Yi Chenfeng had said. There were no scenes in the memory stone. I've discovered that you guys are really stupid. In that kind of situation, just now, did you think that I had the time to use the memory stone? Yi Chenfeng looked at the three's furious faces and asked in return. Yi Chenfeng, you dare trick me. Knowing that he had been tricked, Shinta Shui could not suppress the fury in his heart. He was like an enraged lion as he roared at Yi Chenfeng. As for Shangguan Peng and Shinta Yi, they had also been driven mad by the truth. They gnashed their teeth as they looked at Yi Chenfeng, wishing they could cut him into pieces. All right. Don't be so angry. It won't be good if something happens to you guys. Yi Chenfeng looked at the three furious people and said indifferently, You Thinking of the price he had to pay for this, an unbearable sense of humiliation instantly spread through Shintu Shue's heart. The humiliation that he had never felt before pierced his heart deeply, driving him mad. It made him furious, and it made him almost lose his reason. His fury reached its peak. The creation of Shui tasted something sweet in his throat, and a mouthful of blood sprayed out from his mouth. Chapter 59. The night was like water. The gentle moonlight shone down, enveloping the entire Zijin imperial city in silence. On the night of the Sky Fire Marshal House's assessment, Yi Qinfeng and the rest results were spread throughout Zijin imperial city. The conflict between Yi Qinfeng and Shinda Shui and the other two, as well as his monstrous talent, was intentionally concealed by the Sky Fire Marshal House. Very few people in the outside world knew about this. In the Yi family's old residence, "Father, the results of the Sky Fire Marshal House's assessment are out." Yi Yihai, who had gone to gather information, hurriedly returned to the Yi family's old residence. Did Yi Qinfeng pass the Sky Fire Marshal House's assessment? Yi Qingchuan, who was drinking tea in the study, quickly placed the teacup on the table and asked. Yi Qinfeng did not disappoint our expectations. He ranked first in all 3 rounds of assessment and successfully became a disciple of the Sky Fire Marshal House. Even the strict elder Liu was full of praise for him. Yi Yihai told the Yi family's patriarch, Yi Qingchuan, about the news he had gathered. First in all 3 rounds, although Yi Qingchuan had overestimated Yi Qinfeng, he was still shocked when he heard his final results. Looking at Yi Qingchuan's shocked expression, Yi Yihai revealed a bitter smile. When he first found out about Yi Qinfeng's results, his reaction was the same as Yi Qingchuan's. It had been more than 30 years since a disciple of the Zijin kingdom defeated a disciple of an ancient martial family and obtained first place in the Sky Fire Marshal House's assessment. Sigh, it seems like we were wrong. This Yi Qinfeng is a hidden dragon. I'm afraid that our Yi family has lost our only chance to rise. After finding out about Yi Qinfeng's stunning results, Yi Qingchuan sighed deeply. His words were filled with self-blame and regret. Father, why don't you talk to Yi Qinfeng? Maybe he will return to the Yi family on account of Big Brother. Yi Yihai looked at Yi Qingchuan, who was blaming himself, and asked, Sai, all right. We will think of a way to invite Yi Qinfeng out. Hopefully, he will return on account of Xuanxiang. Yi Qingchuan nodded and said, the Yi family was regretting because of Yi Qinfeng's amazing results. The number 1 family in the Zijin kingdom, the Jiang family, was feeling uneasy because of Yi Qinfeng's heaven-defying results. I didn't expect that little bastard to have hidden himself so deeply. I have to think of a way to get rid of him. Otherwise, when he grows up, I'm afraid he will become a huge threat to my Jiang family. The head of the Jiang family, Jiang Zhongxiong, lightly tapped his finger on the octagonal table beside him and said with a gloomy expression, Father, are you afraid that Yi Qinfeng will take revenge on our Jiang family after finding out the cause of Yi Xuanxiang's death? Jiang Zhongxiong's eldest son, Jiang Shiyu, asked. That's right. Although Yi Qinfeng doesn't have much affection for the Yi clan, he was brought up by Yi Xuanxiang. If he finds out that Yi Xuanxiang was poisoned by us, the consequences will be dire, Jiang Zhongxiong said with a grave expression. Grandpa, there's no need to worry about the threat that Yi Qinfeng poses. Someone will deal with him. Just when the atmosphere in the Jiang family's main hall was a little tense, Jiang Yijuan, who had brought the news back from the Sky Fire Marshal House, spoke up. Yijuan, who will help us deal with Yi Qinfeng? Jiang Zhongxiong's snow-white eyebrows twitched as he asked. The Shuntu family clan and the Shengwan family clan, Jiang Yijuan said. Why? Did Yi Qinfeng offend 2 big, ancient martial arts families? Jiang Zhongxiong said, with some surprise. Although the Jiang family was the number 1 family in the Zijin kingdom, the Jiang family was far inferior to the 2 big, ancient martial arts families in terms of background and overall strength. Yes, I heard that when Yi Qinfeng passed through the Purple Cloud Mountains, he had an intense conflict with Shun Tu Shui, Shun Tu Yi, and Shangwan Peng. In the end, it even alarmed the Sky Fire Marshal House's elders. Jiang Yijuan nodded his head and told them the news he had heard. However, because Shun Tu Shui and the rest had intentionally concealed the truth about killing Yi Chunfeng and Wen Fei Hong, the news that Jiang Yijuan knew was a little one-sided. If that's really the case, then that's great. Once the two big families join forces to deal with Yi Chunfeng, that kid will definitely die. Jiang Zhongxiong revealed a relieved smile as he slowly said, Yijuan, when you return to the Sky Fire Marshal House, pay more attention to Yi Chunfeng. If there's a chance, kill him to prevent future troubles. Jiang Zhongxiong said viciously. Don't worry, grandfather, I know what to do. Jiang Yijuan nodded his head and said. Just as the Sky Fire Marshal House's assessment ended and various parties were making their moves, Yi Chunfeng and the other 5 completed the procedures to enter the Marshal House under Elder Lu's arrangements. They obtained their own identity tokens and officially became disciples of the Sky Fire Marshal House. As for the burly man that was killed by Yi Chunfeng, because of the conflict earlier, no one paid attention to him. This made Ji Qingshue's anxious heart relax. These 6 courtyards will be your living quarters from now on. Chunfeng, you have the best results in this assessment, so you can choose your residence first. Elder Lu took a map of the Sky Fire Marshal House that was filled with markings and pointed to the 6 empty courtyards. I'll choose this one. Yi Chunfeng liked peace and quiet, so he took a liking to it at first glance. It was built on the edge of a cliff and was in a relatively remote location. After Yi Chunfeng finished choosing, Shang Guanpeng, Shen Shui, and the rest each chose their own courtyards. These 6 array flags are for you. You only need to insert them into the center of the array in the courtyard, and it will activate the array patterns in the courtyard. This way, you won't have to worry about being disturbed when you cultivate. These are the Sky Fire Marshal House's unique martial robes. These martial robes are made from ice silk and gold silk. After wearing them, you'll be able to avoid hundreds of insects, poisonous miasma, and be invulnerable to swords and spears. Also, 30 low-grade soul crystals are for you. You can use these soul crystals to select soul techniques and soul skills from the Spirit Skill Pavilion. You can also cultivate in the Spirit Gathering Array. However, after the low-grade soul crystals are used up, you will need to think of ways to earn more. If you want to earn more soul crystals, this jade slip will give you a detailed introduction. Alright, it's getting late. You should return to your courtyards to rest. I hope to see your names on the Sky Fire Marshal ranking in the future. Thank you, Elder Lu. After Yi Chunfeng and the rest put away the resources given to them by Elder Lu, they followed the directions on the map and went to their respective residences. Yi Chunfeng, just you wait. My Shen family clan will definitely not let you off. Seeing Yi Chunfeng's departing figure, Shen Ti, who had been played by Yi Chunfeng and suffered a great loss, swore in his heart. His eyes flashed with an ominous glint. What a beautiful courtyard. Arriving at his own courtyard, Yi Chunfeng's eyes lit up. He never thought that the Sky Fire Marshal House's living conditions would be so good. The walls were made of lapis lazuli and were inlaid with luminous pearls. In the courtyard, there were pavilions and terraces. The green bamboo swayed with the wind, and in a clear pond, small fish swam happily. When Yi Chunfeng inserted the array flags into the center of the array, he could clearly feel the surrounding spiritual energy being attracted and slowly flowing into the courtyard. In less than half an incense stick's worth of time, the courtyard was filled with spiritual energy. It was like a fairyland. No wonder the disciples of the large families are racking their brains to enter the Sky Fire Marshal House to cultivate. Just the cultivation environment here is much better than the outside world. Chapter 60. Marshal House Rules. As his soul power seeped into the jade slip, Yi Chunfeng first saw the rules of the Sky Fire Marshal House. However, the rules were only useful to the weak, so he quickly skimmed through them before continuing to read. Following that, a detailed topographic map of the Sky Fire Marshal House appeared before his eyes. The map clearly marked out the 8 special areas of the Marshal House. They were the Divine Weapon Pavilion, Spirit Skill Pavilion, Elixir Hall, Gravity Cave, Spiritual Kitchen, Spirit Gathering Array, Arena, Mission Block, and Heavenly Soul Array. These 7 special areas were the foundation of the Sky Fire Marshal House. They were the key to producing a large number of Earth Beast generals. However, to use these 7 special areas to increase one's strength, one had to pay a certain amount of low-grade soul crystals. This was why low-grade soul crystals were in high demand in the Sky Fire Marshal House. I wonder how long 2,000 low-grade soul crystals will last me. After browsing through the jade slip, Yi Chunfeng muttered to himself. Although 2,000 low-grade soul crystals was not a small amount, Yi Chunfeng knew that it was far from enough to cover his expenses in the Sky Fire Marshal House. Other than cultivating, he had to think of ways to earn low-grade soul crystals. The Heavenly Soul Array, Arena, and Mission Block were the 3 ways to earn low-grade soul crystals. Among them, Yi Chunfeng was very interested in the Heavenly Soul Array. The Heavenly Soul Array was divided into 9 layers of arrays. Each layer of array space had different levels of enemies to test. Every time one broke through an array, the Heavenly Soul Array would reward different amounts of points based on the number and level of enemies killed. Those with high points would have the opportunity to enter the Sky Fire Marshal ranking mentioned by Elder Liu. Once one became an expert on the Sky Fire Marshal ranking, one would not need to do missions every month and would be rewarded with a certain amount of low-grade soul crystals. If one was in the top 10 of the Sky Fire Marshal ranking, the monthly reward would be enough to make the Sky Fire Marshal House elders jealous. However, the Sky Fire Marshal ranking was limited. Only the top 50 could enter the ranking, so the competition was very intense. Those disciples who could not enter the ranking could only go to the mission block to accept missions or gamble with others in the arena to earn low-grade soul crystals. However, whether it was the Heavenly Soul Array, Arena, or Mission Block, one had to rely on strength. If one did not have enough strength, cultivating in the Sky Fire Marshal House would not only hit a wall, they would also be bullied. I wonder if I can make it onto the Heavenly Fire Marshal ranking if I replenish all the qi and blood in my body. Yi Chunfeng muttered to himself. He decided to first refine and absorb the blood coral he extorted from Yishinda Shui, then refine and absorb the white jade crimson sun pill he won to replenish the vital energy and blood in his body. The night was getting darker. Under the cover of the formation, the courtyard was quiet. After bathing and changing his clothes, Yi Chunfeng adjusted himself to his best condition. He took out the Qinkuan pouch he had used to extort Shen Tu Shui, and took out the blood coral he had placed inside. The quality of his blood coral is not bad. Although Yi Chunfeng felt that the amount of blood contained in the blood coral was far less than that of the 1,000-year-old blood ginseng king, it was still a treasure that could replenish blood and qi. If he refined it, he should be able to replenish around 80% of the blood and qi in his body. Yi Chunfeng pressed one hand on the blood coral and closed his eyes. He released a strand of soul thread into the blood coral. With a wong sound, the blood-red blood coral that had no luster on its surface was stimulated by the soul thread and suddenly trembled. Rays of blood-red light shot out from the blood coral, illuminating the entire room in a blood-red color. It was extremely strange. Devour. Seeing the power of blood and qi in the blood coral being activated, Yi Chunfeng immediately circulated the soul devouring art at high speed. He devoured the power of blood and qi in the blood coral and channeled it into his crisscrossing meridians. It flowed throughout his body, replenishing the missing power of blood and qi in his body. As the power of blood and qi in his body increased, Yi Chunfeng's cells became active, constantly fusing with the power of blood and qi. His skin became redder and redder, as if blood would seep out with a light press. Compared to the 1,000-year-old blood ginseng king, the power of blood and qi in the blood coral was much milder. In addition, Yi Chunfeng had broken through to the realm of a grade 1 beast illusion master. His body's endurance had increased by several folds. During the process of refining the blood coral, he basically did not feel any pain. Time passed by slowly. Yi Chunfeng circulated the soul-devouring art and sat cross-legged on his bed to cultivate until dawn. Suddenly, a crisp cracking sound rang out. The blood-red color quickly faded, and the cracked blood coral turned into powder. After absorbing the power of the blood coral, Yi Chenfeng felt that his strength had increased by 20%. The power of blood and qi in his body had recovered by nearly 80%. His pure physical strength had increased from 800 jin to 11,000 jin. Yi Chenfeng looked out the window and saw that the sun had risen. He did not continue cultivating and simply stretched his body. He took a bath and left the secluded courtyard. According to the map, he went to the spiritual kitchen to eat. There are indeed many experts in the Heavenly Fire Martial House. Along the way, Yi Chenfeng met many disciples of the Heavenly Fire Martial House. All of them had one thing in common, which was that they were all at a higher realm than a beast illusion master. Moreover, their auras were very vigorous. Spiritual kitchen, it's here. As he walked, Yi Chenfeng saw a huge building that looked like a pavilion from afar. There was a huge signboard hanging from the building. On the signboard, there were 3 words written in flamboyant calligraphy: Spiritual Kitchen. 1,000-year-old oolong wood. Walking into the spiritual kitchen, Yi Chenfeng was immediately attracted by the wooden tables and chairs. These tables and chairs were all made from the 1,000-year-old oolong wood, which was worth as much as gold. In the kingdom of Zijin, a table and chair made from 1,000-year-old oolong wood would cost more than 300,000 taels of silver. But here, it was casually placed as an ordinary table and chair. Yi Chenfeng found a table near the window. Just as he sat down, a human-shaped puppet came in front of him with a menu. When Yi Chenfeng saw the dishes on the menu, he was slightly speechless. Many of the dishes were made from the flesh of vicious beasts mixed with rare herbs. The price was also ridiculously expensive. One of the most expensive dishes was the blood snake and blackbird soup. It was brewed using spirit beasts, blood snakes, blackbirds, and dozens of precious herbs. It cost more than 50 low-grade soul crystals. An ordinary person couldn't afford it. Even if Yi Chenfeng had more than 2,000 low-grade soul crystals, he would not dare to eat so extravagantly. He only ordered 1 dish and 1 soup, which cost him 8 low-grade soul crystals. No wonder these dishes are so expensive. There's a reason for it. Yi Chenfeng took a bite of the dish made from vicious beast meat. He immediately felt the fragrance in his mouth. A warm current flowed down his throat and into his meridians, nourishing his body and stabilizing his realm. Following that, he drank a mouthful of the soup made from the blood and tendons of vicious beasts. He also felt the pure spiritual energy flowing into his body, slightly increasing the blood and qi in his cells. Chapter 61. Yo, this year's new students are indeed rich. They just entered the Sky Fire Martial House and already came to the spiritual kitchen for a meal. How rich! Just as Yi Chenfeng was eating with relish and the warm current was nourishing his body, a sarcastic voice entered his ears. 2 seniors wearing dark gray long robes walked in with great vigor. They were level 3 beast illusionists, and their auras were vigorous. They came to the spiritual kitchen and looked at Yi Chenfeng with hostility. Feeling the hostility in their eyes, Yi Chenfeng guessed that they must have been instigated by someone to deliberately find trouble with him. And the instigator was most likely Shinta Shui. However, the Sky Fire Martial House strictly forbade private fights. If the 2 parties wanted to resolve the conflict by force, they had to go to the arena. Otherwise, if the Sky Fire Martial House's elders found out, they would be severely punished. Kid, I heard you have a lot of soul crystals. How about it? Treat us brothers to a meal. If you serve us well, we will protect you in the future. Seeing that Yi Chenfeng was ignoring them, the 2 were not angry. They directly walked in front of Yi Chenfeng and looked down at him, provoking him. If he wanted to treat you to a meal in the spiritual kitchen, that will depend on whether you have the ability. Yi Chenfeng put down the chopsticks in his hand and looked at the 2 calmly. Arrogant indeed. The Chinaman was so angry that he laughed. He looked at Yi Chenfeng with contempt and said, "What? You want to challenge us?" "That's right. Do you dare to accept my challenge?" Yi Chenfeng asked coldly. Although Yi Chenfeng had not broken through after refining and absorbing the blood coral, he had replenished the blood qi in his body to nearly 80%. His physical strength alone exceeded 10,000 jin. coupled with the blood serpent seal that he had comprehended, he could completely crush a level 3 beast illusionist. Haha, did I hear wrongly? The two senior students were startled. They revealed a mocking smile and said, "This kid dares to challenge us. If you agree, we will go to the Great Soul Arena. If you don't, then scram as far as you can. Don't be an eyesore in front of me," Yi Chen-feng said coldly. The two older students did not expect Yi Chen-feng to be so arrogant. Their faces darkened as they spoke with murderous intent. "Since you want to die, we will fulfill your wish. We don't know who will die yet." Yi Chen-feng took out 8 low-grade soul crystals from his Chinkoan bag and placed them on the table. He then walked out of the spiritual kitchen. F***CK, Kong Song, I'll go first. I'm going to break his legs and make him beg for mercy like a dog. The square-faced man stared at Yi Chen-feng's back as he gritted his teeth and said, "Xionghe, this kid shouldn't be simple. Be careful during the competition later. Don't fail miserably." The skinny Kong Song reminded with a glint in his eyes. "Don't worry, there won't be any accidents." Xionghe was confident in his own strength. He did not believe that he would lose to Yi Chen-feng. The Great Soul Arena was the only place in the Sky Fire Martial House where disciples were allowed to fight. It was located in the northwest part of the Sky Fire Martial House, at the bottom of a steep cliff. Yi Chen-feng walked up the white jade stairs and entered the Great Soul Arena that was built like a pavilion. He discovered that there were sabers, swords, axes, spears, long spears, giant hammers, and thousands of other huge weapons around the Great Soul Arena, giving a strong visual impact. In the center of the Great Soul Arena, there were 3 arenas made of black iron. At this moment, there were 4 senior students of the Sky Fire Martial House fighting in the arenas. Many people were watching from below. "Elder Jean, we want to fight. I'll have to trouble Elder Jean to open the 3rd arena." Entering the arena, Xionghe respectfully said to a white-haired old man wearing a linen robe with a strong aura. "In." Elder Jean glanced at Yi Chen-feng and the other two with his turbid eyes and reminded them in a low voice, "You can fight, but you can't kill. Otherwise, you will be punished according to the martial house's rules." After saying that, Elder Jean opened the restriction runes and opened the 3rd arena. Xionghe knew that Yi Chen-feng had extorted 2,000 low-grade soul crystals from Shun Tu Shui, so he maliciously suggested, "Brat, isn't a simple fight too boring? Why don't we make a bet?" "Of course. How about we bet 2,000 low-grade soul crystals?" Yi Chen-feng's lips curled up slightly as he spoke with a hint of coldness. Although Xionghe and Kong Song wanted to agree, they usually cultivated and consumed a large amount of low-grade spirit crystals. They did not have that much savings. "Didn't you want to make a bet? Why are you mute now?" Yi Chen-feng deliberately ridiculed them when he saw their ashen faces. "We don't have that many low-grade spirit crystals," Xionghe said while grinding his teeth, guessing that Yi Chen-feng was deliberately humiliating him. "Sigh, how disappointing. Then how many low-grade spirit crystals do you want to bet? If it's too little, I won't play." Yi Chen-feng sighed softly and said with flagging interest. Xionghe and Kong Song were so angry that their eyes were spitting fire. "We'll bet 300 low-grade spirit crystals." Xionghe calculated his wealth and said while clenching his teeth. 300 low-grade spirit crystals. "Sigh, you guys are really poor." Yi Chen-feng shook his head and said with a sigh, "Kid, don't be so arrogant. You'll be crying a while." Xionghe was so angry that his lungs were about to explode when he heard Yi Chen-feng's ridicule. He wanted nothing more than to tear him apart. "Are you guys ready? If you're ready, give me the wager and we can start the fight." Elder Jean looked at the unfamiliar face of Yi Chen-feng and said, "I've been ready for a long time." Xionghe clenched his fists and said with a high fighting spirit. He handed over the 300 low-grade spirit crystals to Elder Jean and jumped into the arena. "Well, why are you alone? Aren't you coming?" Yi Chen-feng looked at Kong Song and asked, "Why? Do you want to challenge both of us at the same time?" Kong Song frowned and asked in surprise. The two of them never dreamed that Yi Chen-feng would be so arrogant. He didn't put them in his eyes at all and openly challenged them. "Yes, it's too time-consuming to fight one by one. Moreover, it's not challenging." Yi Chen-feng nodded and said, "Well, don't talk nonsense. You two come at me together. I'll go back and cultivate after I finish you. Arrogant, too arrogant. Xianghe and the other man thought that they were already very arrogant normally, but they didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to be even more arrogant and savage than them. Waves of anger erupted from their chests, and their faces turned green from anger. Elder Jean, here are 600 low-grade spirit crystals. Yi Chunfeng ignored the fiery gazes of the two elders. He took out 600 low-grade soul crystals from his cosmos sack and handed them over to Elder Jean, who had a strange expression on his face. Then he jumped onto the stage. Since you want to die, we'll help you. Kong Song, who was burning with rage and filled with killing intent, roared. He handed over the bet to Elder Jean and leapt onto the stage. I swear, I'll make you regret this. Xianghe gritted his teeth and said. As he spoke, two soul beasts that emitted green light appeared on their bodies, and a strong pressure engulfed Yi Chunfeng. Chapter 62. Why is it him? At this time, in a corner of the Great Soul Arena, a tall man wearing a black robe noticed Yi Chunfeng and revealed a strange expression. This man was none other than the black-robed man that Yi Chunfeng had robbed when he passed through the Purple Cloud Mountain range and obtained the frightening Soul Finger. The black-robed man shook his head and muttered to himself. He just entered the Sky Fire Martial House, and he's already challenging two rank 3 beast illusionists by himself. Is this kid a monster? Although Yi Chunfeng's actions seemed extremely arrogant, when he thought of Yi Chunfeng's shocking talent, he didn't think highly of Xianghe and Kong Song. Under the pressure of the auras released by Xianghe and Kong Song, Yi Chunfeng's aura erupted like a volcano. He was like an evil wolf that had been lying in wait for a long time, baring its fangs and emitting killing intent. Full strength. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng's blood and qi energy erupted, causing the air around him to tremble violently. It constantly tore apart the aura released by Xianghe and Kong Song's spirit-beast fusion. What? Xianghe and the other two revealed shocked expressions when they sensed the sudden burst of power from Yi Chunfeng's body. The way they looked at Yi Chunfeng changed drastically. Never in their dreams would they have thought that Yi Chunfeng, who was only a rank 1 beast illusionist, could erupt with strength that was even more terrifying than theirs. Monster! He is indeed a monster. The black-robed man looked at Yi Chunfeng with a dumbfounded expression. He couldn't imagine that Yi Chunfeng's strength would grow so much in just one day. Let's go. After a brief moment of shock, Xianghe and Kong Song launched their attacks first. Xianghe took 8 steps to catch up to Yi Chunfeng, closing in on him with a single step. As for Kong Song, he took out a large saber with 2 offensive runes engraved on it from his cosmos bag and slashed down with a force that could split the heavens. Xianghe and Kong Song's coordination was extremely good. The two of them together could defeat a rank 4 beast illusionist genius. But they didn't know that Yi Chunfeng's physical strength surpassed that of a rank 4 beast illusionist, making up for his lack of strength. Blood Serpent Seal, Soul Breaker. Yi Chunfeng straightened his back in the face of Xianghe and the other man's joint attack. He did not dodge. Following the soul power in his body, 5,000 kilograms of strength surged into his arms. His right hand danced like an agile snake and instantly condensed the Blood Serpent Seal, which bombarded Xianghe's soul skill at close range. Yi Chunfeng pointed at the air with his left hand, and a foot-long finger light streaked across the sky. It was aimed at the sharp blade light that Kong Song had unleashed with his soul skill. Boom boom. 2 loud sounds rang out. For powerful soul skills collided intensely, and streaks of resplendent soul light shot out, causing dense water ripples to appear in the air. When did the Sky Flame Martial House produce such a genius? After witnessing Yi Chunfeng unleashing different soul skills with both hands and taking on Xianghe and Kong Song's attacks head-on, Elder Jin's emotionless face revealed a trace of astonishment. This was because to unleash 2 soul skills at the same time, not only did one need to cultivate the soul skill to an extremely high level, one also needed to multitask in an instant, controlling the soul skill within one's body to unleash 2 attacks at the same time. This was something that most people would not be able to do. Blood Serpent Seal. In just a day's time, not only did he break through his realm and increase his strength, he actually comprehended a mid-grade spirit rank soul skill and even cultivated it to the large success stage. How can there be such a monster in this world? The black-clothed man was shocked speechless by Yi Chunfeng's monstrous talent, and his entire body was numb. Shape-shifting phantom. After taking on the two soul skills head-on, Yi Chunfeng's feet flashed, and he passed through the layers of explosive aura, appearing behind Xiong He in an extremely strange manner. Not good. Feeling the danger behind him, Xiong He's heart jumped wildly, and he wanted to use 8 steps overtaking Cicada to dodge. However, at this moment, Yi Chunfeng's foot shot out a force of nearly 15,000 kilograms, which was transmitted into the ground and caused the arena made of black iron to tremble slightly, greatly affecting Xiong He's dodging speed. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng's fist, which had compressed his strength to the extreme, smashed into Xiong He's back, shattering his body's defenses and shattering his spine. A large amount of blood sprayed out from his mouth. His entire body heavily smashed into the ground, causing the ground to buzz. Lunar Shadow Slash. When Kong Song saw that Xiong He had been injured by Yi Chunfeng, his pupils shrank. He flew into the air, holding a low-grade spirit rank long saber, and used his strongest soul skill, the mid-grade spirit rank Lunar Shadow Slash, to attack Yi Chunfeng. The Lunar Shadow Slash combined with a low-grade spirit weapon was extremely terrifying. The saber shadow was like a crescent moon falling from the sky, cutting through layers of air. Before the attack even reached Yi Chunfeng, his skin was already in pain, and the blood in his body was roiling. The Heavenly Fire Martial House's disciples are indeed not simple. Facing Kong Song's strongest attack, Yi Chunfeng didn't dare to take it head-on. Using the essence of Transfiguration Phantom, he made 3 consecutive strange dodges in an instant, dodging the Lunar Shadow Slash. 8 Desolation Palm. The moment Yi Chunfeng dodged the heavily injured Xiong, he ignored his injuries and quickly climbed up from the ground. The phantom of his spirit beast flickered in his body as he launched a fatal attack at Yi Chunfeng. The 8 Desolation Palm was the same as the Blood Serpent Seal. Its power was comparable to a high-grade spirit rank soul skill, but it was extremely difficult to cultivate. With Xiong Yi's comprehension, he hadn't cultivated the 8 Desolation Palm to the large success stage, causing the 8 Desolation Palm's power to be greatly reduced. Blood Serpent Seal. Yi Chunfeng quickly took a step forward. His entire body's strength intertwined with his soul power, and the condensed blood serpent instantly transformed into a large blood-red palm that met Xiong He's attack head-on. The instant the 2 great soul skills collided, the power contained within the Blood Serpent Seal directly shattered the 8 Desolation Palm. A terrifying power drilled into Xiong He's arms, causing the flesh and blood on his arms to explode. His entire body was like a kite with a broken string as he slid down from the sky. He directly fell out of the stage and lost the match. Xiong He lost. Kong Song knew Xiong He's strength. Even if he wanted to defeat Xiong He, it wouldn't be easy. However, Yi Chunfeng used the most direct and most brutal method to send him flying. This caused Kong Song's heart to fall to the bottom. He knew he had kicked an iron plate, and this match was probably going to be lost. Just as he was in a daze, a light flashed beneath Yi Chunfeng's feet as he continued to attack him. With the help of a low-grade spiritual long saber, Kong Song's attack power was above Xiong He's. However, against the Transfiguration Phantom Quintessence footwork, Kong Song's attacks were unable to hit Yi Chunfeng's body. Gradually, Kong Song's soul power was severely depleted, and his strength fell short of his desire. The speed and power of his attacks were greatly reduced. On the other hand, Yi Chunfeng relied on his over 10,000 kilograms of physical strength to fight more and more bravely. His attacks gradually suppressed Kong Song. When Kong Song's saber slashed through the air, Yi Chunfeng took the opportunity to unleash 3 soul-shattering finger lights, Starlight, Starlight, and Soulbreaker. They broke through Kong Song's defense and injured his body. A large amount of blood flowed out and dyed his clothes red. Do you admit defeat? Yi Chunfeng looked at Kong Song, who was heavily injured. He released a powerful physical strength to suppress Kong Song as he coldly asked, I admit defeat. Chapter 63. Lost. Xiong He and Kong Song have indeed lost. Although he had expected this, the black-clothed man was still shocked when he saw the two of them lose. It looks like it won't be long before the top 10 of the Sky Fire Martial roll changes. What's your name? Elder Jin's turbid eyes shone. He never expected that Yi Chunfeng would be so outstanding. Not only did he defeat opponents 2 ranks above him, he even won 1 versus 2. Yi Chunfeng said lightly, You are the new king that just entered the Sky Fire Martial House yesterday. Elder Jin had heard of Yi Chunfeng's results yesterday, but he did not take it to heart. However, after seeing him today, he realized that Yi Chunfeng was even more outstanding and monstrous than what he had heard. Yes, I just entered the Sky Fire Martial House yesterday. Yi Chunfeng nodded. Hua. Just as Yi Chunfeng finished speaking, there was an uproar around the arena. The Sky Fire Martial House seniors who had witnessed the battle could not believe it. Yi Chunfeng had just entered the Sky Fire Martial House, and he had defeated 2 seniors so easily. Very good. Yi Chunfeng, these are your winnings. Cultivate well and strive to enter the Sky Fire Martial role as soon as possible. After seeing Yi Chunfeng's talent, Elder Jin's love for talent was aroused, and he handed all the winnings to him. Thank you, Elder Jin. Yi Chunfeng kept the 1,200 low-grade soul crystals into his universe bag. He did not stay in the arena for long. Under the awe-inspiring gazes of the crowd, he turned around and left, returning to his small yard by the cliff. It looks like I need to increase my strength as soon as possible. If not, there will be more and more troubles. Yi Chunfeng never expected trouble to come knocking on his door on the first day. Although he had resolved the trouble in a tyrannical manner, he felt that the Shuntu family clan and the Shangguan family clan would definitely not let this matter rest. After taking a bath and changing his clothes, Yi Chunfeng rested for a while and adjusted his body to its peak state. He took out the white jade crimson sun pellet that he won from the Chinkoan pouch and swallowed it. The white jade crimson sun pill melted as soon as it entered his mouth. Before Yi Chunfeng could react, the boiling hot energy was like a surging river, flowing down his throat and into his body, pouring into his meridians. The strength of this energy was beyond his imagination. In an instant, it opened up all the meridians in his body, causing him great pain. As expected of an 8th-grade medicinal pill, the medicinal power it contains is even stronger than the 1,000-year-old blood ginseng king. Yi Chunfeng gritted his teeth as he endured the excruciating pain. He circulated the soul-devouring incantation over and over again to refine the energy released by the white jade crimson sun pill. He increased the power of his blood and qi and tempered his body. As the white jade crimson sun pill released more and more scorching energy, Yi Chunfeng felt as if he had fallen into a furnace and was being set on fire. The blood that seeped out of his pores had long since dyed him red. At the same time, his handsome face began to distort as clear cracks began to appear on the surface of his skin. At this time, Yi Chunfeng displayed an unprecedented level of endurance. He was like an old monk in meditation. He sat cross-legged on the blood bed without moving, enduring the torment of pain. Under the impact of the white jade crimson sun pill's scorching energy, the meridians in his body rapidly expanded. Small cracks appeared on the surface of his meridians. However, as soon as the cracks appeared, they were immediately repaired by the soul-devouring incantation. While the cracks were being repaired, Yi Chunfeng's meridians slowly expanded. As his meridians continued to expand, his body's absorption rate also slowly increased. Gradually, Yi Chunfeng felt the burning sensation in his body become lighter and lighter. The blood and qi in his body became thicker and thicker. He let out a long breath. Just as Yi Chunfeng was hiding in his room, fully refining the white jade crimson sun pill to increase his strength, in the eastern part of the Sky Fire Martial House, in a beautiful courtyard, Xionghe and Kong Song, who had been injured by Yi Chanfeng and had lost all face, bowed slightly and stood respectfully in the courtyard. In front of them stood a young man in a white robe. He had a stalwart figure and distinct facial features. He gave off a wild and unruly feeling. This man's name was Shinta Hung. He was the top genius of the Shinta family clan. At the age of 21, he had broken through to a first-grade Earth Beast general. He was also an expert ranked 10th on the Sky Fire Marshal roll. Understand, both of you can go and recuperate. After hearing the two's narration, Shinta Heng's expression did not change. He waved his hand lightly and said impatiently, "Yes, young Master Hung." Seeing that Shinta Hung was not angry, Kong Song secretly heaved a sigh of relief and quickly left. Really, two useless trash. Seeing the two's departing figures, Shinta Shui walked out from the inner room and said angrily, "It's not that they're useless, but that Yi Chenfeng is not simple at all." Shinta Heng's voice was calm as he said, "I remember you telling me that he wasn't your match a day ago. However, in just a day's time, he managed to defeat Xionghe and Kong Song. This isn't something an ordinary person can do. He must have refined those few elixirs and forcefully increased his strength. If not, he would not be so powerful." Shinta Shui said in an unconvinced manner, "Regardless, this person is not to be underestimated. If we cannot mend our relationship with him, then we must not let him grow. If not, he will become a great threat to our Shinta family clan." Shinta Heng's eyes flashed with a sinister gaze as he said, "Third brother, why don't you deal with him? Or get second brother to deal with him? Let that kid know the power of our Shinta family clan." Shinta Shui encouraged, "If he is not stupid, he will not accept my challenge. Hence, we need to wait for an opportunity that will make him unable to make a comeback. But before that, I will give him a chance." Shinta Heng's eyes revealed a sinister look as he said in a deep voice. At the same time, the Shangwan family disciples were shocked when they learned that Yi Chanfeng had defeated Xionghe and Kong Song. They began to plan how to deal with Yi Chanfeng. Just as Yi Chanfeng became a thorn in the side of the two ancient martial arts family clans, he had finally absorbed the medicinal essence of the white jade, scarlet yang pill. A surge of blood, qi, burst out from his body like smoke, surging up to the roof. If not for the entire yard being covered by runes, the blood and qi that surged out from Yi Chenfeng's body would have been enough to pierce through the roof. Blood and qi like smoke was a characteristic of the large success stage of the second stage of the 6th Meridian Divine Shield realm. After replenishing 100% of his blood and qi, Yi Chenfeng's physical strength increased exponentially. Just his physical strength alone had reached 15,000 pounds of strength. His personal strength had also increased by a large margin. If not for Yi Chenfeng being afraid that his foundation would be unstable and trying his best to suppress his realm, he would have already broken through to the second stage of the Beast Illusionist realm by absorbing the blood coral and the white jade scarlet yang pill's energy. Chapter 64. What a terrifying aura of killing. Yi Chenfeng walked into the Divine Weapon Pavilion, which was made of special metal. He saw all kinds of spirit weapons hanging on the huge walls of the Divine Weapon Pavilion. A sharp aura of killing was released from these spirit weapons, causing all the hairs on his body to stand on end. Due to the exorbitant prices of the spirit weapons in the Divine Weapon Pavilion, the disciples of the Sky Fire Marshal House preferred to use low-grade spirit crystals for cultivation. Therefore, there was only a white-haired old man lying in a rocking chair, seemingly asleep. What weapon is more suitable for me? Looking at the huge wall of weapons, Yi Chenfeng, who had been relying on his strength and empty-handed fighting, fell into deep thought. The sword was the king of all weapons. It had exquisite sword moves and fierce attacks. Most people liked it, but it was not easy to cultivate it to an extremely high level. The saber was large, and when it attacked, it carried a domineering aura. However, it lacked the indomitable spirit and sharpness. The staff could both attack and defend, but it lacked destructive power. Its killing power was far inferior to the spear, the king of all weapons. In addition, Yi Chunfeng cultivated the Six Meridians' divine shield. His powerful physical strength was more suitable for heavy weapons. Therefore, Yi Chunfeng felt that the spear was more suitable for his future weapon. Just as Yi Chunfeng's eyes were constantly scanning the huge wall of weapons, looking for a suitable heavy spear, a broken sword with half of its body, which was placed in the corner of his eyes, attracted his attention. The surface of the sword was dull, and half of the blade was broken. The reason Yi Chunfeng was attracted by this broken sword was because when Yi Chunfeng looked at it, the god-devouring brain in his mind had an inexplicable reaction. Could it be that this broken sword is extraordinary? Yi Chunfeng raised his eyebrows and went to the white-haired old man guarding the divine weapon pavilion. He asked, "How much is this broken sword? Was it refined by the Sky Fire Marshal House?" "This broken sword is worth 1,000 low-grade spirit crystals. As for its origin and grade, I'm not sure." The white-haired old man, lying in the rocking chair, slowly opened his eyes and said indifferently, 1,000 low-grade spirit crystals? So expensive. Knowing the price of the broken sword, Yi Chunfeng could not help but take a deep breath. He was somewhat hesitant to buy it. After all, 1,000 low-grade soul crystals were enough to purchase a mid-grade spirit weapon or a high-grade spirit soul skill. However, this broken sword was so badly damaged that he couldn't see any value in it. This broken sword has a long history, and the material is extraordinary, so the price is rather expensive. The white-haired old man said, "May I take a look at that broken sword first?" Yi Chunfeng pondered for a moment before asking, "No, you can't touch it if you don't buy it." The white-haired old man shook his head and refused. "All right, I'll buy this broken sword." After hesitating for a long time, Yi Chunfeng finally decided to spend 1,000 low-grade soul crystals to buy the broken sword that had triggered the God-Eater brain's reaction. "Have you really decided? I heard that this broken sword is a little strange." The white-haired old man looked at Yi Chunfeng meaningfully and reminded him, "I've decided." After saying that, Yi Chunfeng took out 1,000 low-grade soul crystals from his chinquin bag and handed them to the white-haired old man. Thus, he obtained this seemingly ordinary broken sword of mysterious origin. After buying the broken sword, Yi Chunfeng did not stay any longer. He turned around and left the divine weapon pavilion. He could not wait to return to his small courtyard to study this broken sword. The reason why Yi Chunfeng was so anxious was because when his finger touched the broken sword, the God-Eater brain immediately reacted. It was enough to show that this broken sword was indeed extraordinary. However, when Yi Chunfeng calmed down and studied the broken sword, he found that it did not absorb his blood, and the God-Eater brain did not react either. Could it be that the God-Eater brain's reaction was wrong? Is this broken sword a worthless broken weapon? Yi Chunfeng used the God-Eater brain to sense for more than half an hour, but did not find anything special about this broken sword. He revealed a disappointed expression. Could it be that I'm using the wrong method? After thinking for a while, Yi Chunfeng changed his method. He circulated the soul-devouring art at high speed and controlled the God-Eater brain to release a powerful devouring power into the broken sword. After about an incense stick's worth of time, there was finally a trace of abnormality in the broken sword. Under the powerful devouring power of the God-Eater brain, a slight cracking sound could be heard from the broken sword. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng released his soul power into the broken sword and found a large number of offensive array patterns in the broken sword. However, as the broken sword broke, these array patterns also broke. 3,680 offensive runes. Who on earth created this broken sword? Yi Chunfeng could not imagine what kind of power this sword would unleash if it was in perfect condition and activated all of the attack patterns when attacked. It would probably be able to easily kill a heavenly beast immortal expert. I wonder if the God-Eater brain can help me repair these array patterns. Yi Chunfeng muttered to himself and decided to find an opportunity to borrow the power of the God-Eater brain to repair the array patterns in the broken sword. If it could be repaired, this broken sword would be his greatest trump card. This sword hilt also has a mystery. While Yi Chunfeng was silently exploring this mysterious broken sword, the God-Eater brain found a hidden array pattern restriction on the broken sword hilt. Break! With the help of the God-Eater brain, Yi Chunfeng released his soul power and forcibly penetrated the array pattern restriction on the sword hilt. Immediately after, a disdainful voice penetrated his ears. Kill, kill, kill. The terrifying voice was like thunder from the nine heavens, exploding in Yi Chunfeng's ears. The powerful voice caused Yi Chunfeng to bleed from his 7 orifices and his head to become dizzy. Just as Yi Chunfeng wanted to withdraw the soul power that had seeped into the broken sword, a monstrous sword aura gushed out from the array pattern restriction. It crushed the soul power and blasted into his mind, riddling his soul with holes. Seeing that Yi Chunfeng's head was about to be pierced and he would die, the God-Eater brain that had fused with his brain quickly squirmed and released a powerful devouring power to devour this monstrous sword aura. But in the next second, another monstrous sword aura gushed out from the restless sword hilt and blasted into Yi Chunfeng's mind, continuing to attack his soul. Facing this unparalleled sword aura, Yi Chunfeng was powerless to resist. He was like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered and placed all his hopes on the God-Eater brain. If the God-Eater brain could not devour the monstrous sword aura gushing out from the broken sword, he would not be able to escape misfortune. The moment the second monstrous sword aura blasted into Yi Chunfeng's mind, the God-Eater brain immediately reacted and projected a devouring bloodlight. It was like a huge mouth that engulfed the sword aura and devoured it for the second time. After 2 monstrous sword auras, Yi Chunfeng's heart sank to the bottom. This was because he could clearly feel the 3rd monstrous sword aura brewing in the broken sword. This sword aura was so strong that he could smell the aura of death. In the blink of an eye, a dazzling white light blinded his eyes. The sword aura that was like a shooting star blasted into his mind and pierced towards the God-Eater brain that controlled his soul. Chapter 65. I'm not dead yet. After an unknown period of time, Yi Chunfeng woke up from his coma. Looking at the familiar surroundings and mysterious broken sword lying beside him in silence, Yi Chunfeng knew that the God-Eater brain had saved him. He had not been killed by the last sword move. Although he had managed to survive, Yi Chunfeng still felt a lingering fear when he thought back to that day. This broken sword is too terrifying. I reckon that it has been passed down for at least 100 years. Yet the power of the sword sealed within the sword hilt is still so terrifying. It is truly hard to imagine what kind of expert the owner of this broken sword was. Yi Chunfeng muttered to himself as he picked up the broken sword again. This time, he was much more careful. He took a huge risk and continued to study the broken sword. He discovered another terrifying sword move in the hilt, which made him break out in a cold sweat. Forget it. I'll slowly study this broken sword when my cultivation level increases in the future. Yi Chunfeng no longer had the courage to take on the 4th sword move. He carefully sealed the broken sword and placed it in his cosmic bag. This is... Just as Yi Chunfeng sat on the bed and controlled the God-Eater brain to heal his soul, he discovered to his surprise that 3 sword inscriptions had appeared in the brain. These 3 sword inscriptions were actually formed by the 3 sword moves in the broken sword. With this discovery, Yi Chunfeng was overjoyed. He had never dreamed that the God-Eater brain would be so heaven-defying. Not only had it saved him, but it had also left behind the 3 sword inscriptions. A swordsman who had comprehended sword intent could harm others invisibly and increase the lethality of the sword. It could be said that anyone who had comprehended sword inscriptions was a shocking genius swordsman. I wonder how long it will take for me to comprehend the 3 sword inscriptions in the God-Eater brain with my current level of comprehension. Yi Chunfeng muttered to himself. It was also because of the sword inscriptions that he chose the sword as his weapon in the end. After being unconscious for several days, Yi Chunfeng's stomach was already rumbling with hunger. He simply healed his soul injury and left the small courtyard, once again coming to the spiritual kitchen to eat. After eating the delicacies cooked with ferocious beast flesh, Yi Chunfeng spent more than 130 low-grade soul crystals to buy a large amount of food that was easy to store and contained spirituality. He was preparing for his secluded cultivation to cultivate his sword force. An expert. Just as Yi Chen-feng left the spiritual kitchen and returned to his courtyard to prepare for seclusion, he found a tall young man wearing a white robe standing outside his courtyard. And where he stood, his body seemed to have merged with the surrounding air. If one didn't look with their eyes, they wouldn't be able to detect his existence at all. Yi Chen-feng, I've been waiting for you for a while. The white-clothed man calmly stared at Yi Chen-feng and slowly spoke. You are from the Shun Tu family clan. Seeing that the white-clothed man's face was similar to Shun Tu Shui's, Yi Chen-feng guessed his identity. That's right. My name is Shun Tu Hong. I am Shun Tu Shui, Shun Tu Ye's cousin. Shun Tu Hong nodded and said, Shun Tu Hong, an expert ranked 10th on the Heavenly Fire Martial Roll. Yi Chen-feng had heard of Shun Tu Heng's name before. Furthermore, he could smell a dangerous aura from him. He coldly asked, Why are you looking for me? I'm here to give you a gift of fate. Shun Tu Hong said in a superior tone. What do you think of my sister, Shun Tu Bing? Don't tell me you want your sister to marry me. Yi Chen-feng said with a smile. He did not have a good impression of the unruly and willful Shun Tu Bing. It is not my sister marrying you, but you marrying into my Shun Tu family clan. Shun Tu Hong shook his head and said, Sorry, I'm not interested in your sister, nor will I marry into your Shun Tu family clan. After knowing Shun Tu Heng's motive, Yi Chen-feng laughed and rejected him. Are you really not going to consider it? This is the only chance for you to mend your relationship with my Shun Tu family clan. If you miss it, you will probably regret it for the rest of your life. Shun Tu Hong said in a low voice as his eyes revealed a sinister look. Are you done? If you are, I will be returning. After saying that, Yi Chen-feng ignored Shun Tu Heng's angry eyes and walked past him. He walked into his own yard and activated the runic restrictions. Yi Chen-feng, since you do not know what's good for you, then don't blame me for being ruthless. The hidden hostility in Shun Tu Heng's eyes surged out. It was like the gaze of a wild beast, making people shudder. The top 10 on the Heavenly Fire Martial Roll is indeed not simple. Through his interaction with Shun Tu Hong, Yi Chen-feng had a general understanding of the strength of the top 10 on the Heavenly Fire Martial Roll. He felt that he was still very far from 10th place. Hence, the most important thing now was to quickly comprehend the sword stance. Only by comprehending a sword stance with astounding offensive power could he close the gap between him and Shun Tu Hong and company in a short period of time. Yi Chen-feng sat under the only ancient tree in the courtyard and regulated his breathing for a while. He got rid of all distracting thoughts and began to comprehend the 3 sword stances in the God-Eater mind. Soon, he entered a state of deep meditation. Although Yi Chen-feng's perception and talent had reached an unimaginable level after fusing with the God-Eater's brain, he was still unfamiliar with sword stances. Furthermore, sword stances were profound and difficult to understand. They were profound and obscure, and they were ever-changing and multiplying. This caused Yi Chen-feng to be unable to comprehend the true essence of sword stances. Although he was unable to grasp the essentials, Yi Chen-feng was not in a hurry. He was like an old monk in meditation. He sat under the ancient tree without moving and patiently comprehended the 3 sword stances in the God-Eater's brain. Time passed day by day. Aside from eating, Yi Chen-feng spent almost all of his time comprehending the sword force. With the passage of time, Yi Chen-feng finally comprehended a small part of the true essence of sword stances through the analysis and evolution of the God-Eater's brain. Streaks of sharp sword light slowly condensed on the surface of his body, automatically slicing the leaves that were drifting in the wind. Sword stances are formless, but the sword has a soul. Only by cultivating the sword stance into a part of one's body, allowing the sword stance to possess a soul and life, can one truly grasp sword stances. After nearly a month of comprehension, Yi Chen-feng finally comprehended the true essence of sword stances. In the courtyard, Yi Chen-feng sat cross-legged under the ancient tree without moving. Streaks of sword qi flowed on the surface of his body as if they were about to burst out. Suddenly, Yi Chen-feng, who had his eyes closed, opened his eyes. Two sharp lights shot out from his eyes. In the next moment, Yi Qianfeng gently pointed his finger. A resplendent sword light shot out from his fingertip and attacked the void. Although Yi Qianfeng used his finger as a sword, the sword light was perfect in terms of speed and power. It pierced the formation restriction above the courtyard and directly tore a hole in it. That sword just now should only be considered half-step sword stances. Although the sword ray that Yi Qianfeng shot out earlier was extremely powerful, he knew that there was still a slight difference between him and the true sword force. To make up for these slight differences, he would need a long time to practice. Chapter 66. After comprehending half-step sword force, Yi Qianfeng knew that he could only make up for his lack of sword force through battle, and the heavenly solar ray was the best place to temper his sword force. Yi Qianfeng ate some of the delicacies cooked by the spiritual kitchen and rested for a while. First, he went to the Divine Weapon Pavilion and spent 400 low-grade soul crystals to buy a fire attribute low-grade soul artifact, Scarlet Heaven Sword. I wonder how many levels of the heavenly soul array I can pass with my current strength. Yi Qianfeng pondered as he walked. Following the markings on the map, he arrived outside the heavenly soul array. He saw two huge stone doors that were 10 meters tall and had totems engraved on them. On the stone door, there was a smooth jade wall that was as smooth as a mirror. On the jade wall, there were 50 golden names. First place was Fu Yue. Second place was Lin Fu Xin. Third place was Xin De Kuang. Fourth place was Shangguan Yuantong. Fifth place was Feng Yunxue. After glancing at the Heavenly Fire Marshal ranking, Yi Qianfeng retracted his gaze. He paid 10 low-grade soul crystals and received a life-saving stone. Remember, other than weapons, you cannot use anything else in the heavenly soul array. Otherwise, you will be immediately teleported out of the heavenly soul array. The registration elder warned sternly. I understand. Yi Qianfeng nodded and stepped through the huge stone door. He entered a spacious hall that was supported by hundreds of stone pillars with coiling dragons. And at the top of the hall, there was also a huge ranking jade wall. Walking into the hall outside the heavenly soul array, Yi Qianfeng immediately felt an oppressive feeling in the air. The huge walls were engraved with complex array patterns that gave a strong visual impact. Just as Yi Qianfeng was looking at the array patterns in front of him, a sarcastic voice entered his ears. Yi Qianfeng, why aren't you a coward? You're finally willing to come out of your little courtyard? Jiang Yijuan, who was dressed in luxurious clothes and had an extraordinary bearing, appeared in the hall. When he saw Yi Qianfeng, he was stunned for a moment. Then, a cold smile appeared on his face as he deliberately provoked him. Sai, how disappointing. Why are there so many mad dogs in the Heavenly Fire Marshal House? Yi Qianfeng coldly glanced at Jiang Yijuan, shook his head, and said, Yi Qianfeng, who are you calling a dog? The proud and arrogant Jiang Yijuan had never put Yi Qianfeng in his eyes. When he heard Yi Qianfeng insult him, his face instantly darkened. He took heavy steps towards Yi Qianfeng and questioned him angrily. What? Aren't you one? Yi Qianfeng shook his head and said, Some people are clearly dogs, but they don't want to admit it. I really feel sad for you. Yi Qianfeng's words pierced deeply into Jiang Yijuan's heart. A surge of anger erupted from his chest like a giant hand and pressed down on Yi Qianfeng. What? You want to fight here? Have you forgotten the rules of the Heavenly Fire Marshal House? Yi Qianfeng stood motionless like a steel spear under the pressure of Jiang Yijuan's powerful aura as he spoke in a deep voice. Yi Qianfeng, you're only good at talking. Do you dare to accept my challenge? Jiang Yijuan took a deep breath and tried his best to suppress the anger in his heart. He looked at Yi Qianfeng with disdain and provoked him. Although he had heard that Yi Qianfeng had defeated Xiong He and Xiong He by himself, he was very confident in his own strength. He wanted to break Yi Qianfeng's heart of martial arts before he matured. I accept your challenge, but we'll talk about it after I've completed the Heavenly Soul Array. Yi Qianfeng agreed. I'm also going to attempt the Heavenly Soul Array. I'll wait for you. However, what if you go back on your word after you've completed the Heavenly Soul Array? Jiang Yijuan said deliberately. It doesn't matter. I can be your witness. At this moment, a deep voice rang out. Elder Tan, who was guarding the heavenly solar ray, heard the commotion and slowly walked out. "Thank you, Elder Tan." Hearing that Elder Tan was willing to testify, Jiang Yijuan was overjoyed and quickly thanked him. In his opinion, with Elder Tan as a witness, it was impossible for Yi Chunfeng to go back on his word. He couldn't wait to teach Yi Chunfeng a lesson. However, Yi Chunfeng's expression didn't change much. He only thanked Elder Tan. "All right, the two of you can go and attempt the heavenly solar ray." Elder Tan nodded and said, "Yes." The two of them said in unison. With that, Yi Chunfeng and Elder Tan passed through the main hall and came to a light door formed by array runes. "Elder Tan, what do you think of Yi Chunfeng?" When Yi Chunfeng and Elder Tan disappeared from the main hall, Elder Lu's figure appeared in the main hall. He walked to Elder Tan's side and asked, "He's not mature mentally and is a little reckless." Elder Tan commented, "Reckless? Are you talking about the bet he made with Jiang Yijuan?" Elder Lu revealed a faint smile and said, "That's right. Jiang Yijuan has been cultivating in the Sky Fire Martial House for many years. He is 1 foot in the level 5 Beast Illusion Master and has the ability to enter the top 50 of the Sky Fire Martial ranking. Yi Chunfeng is definitely not his match." Elder Tan nodded and said, "Although that's the case, I don't think highly of Jiang Yijuan. I believe that Yi Chunfeng can defeat him." Elder Lu said, "Elder Lu, you think so highly of Yi Chunfeng? If he wants to defeat Jiang Yijuan, he will have to cross 3 levels. It's too difficult." Elder Tan asked in astonishment, "Believe me, Yi Chunfeng will give you a surprise." Thinking of Yi Chunfeng's monstrous talent, Elder Lu was full of confidence in him. What a terrifying array rune power. As Yi Chunfeng stood outside the heavenly soul formation, he looked through the many doors of light and felt the horrifying pressure of the formation, which made his heart tremble. "Yi Chunfeng, I forgot to tell you that I'm going to enter the top 50 of the Sky Fire Martial ranking." Jiang Yijuan turned his head and looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was not far away. He deliberately said this in an attempt to break his confidence. "I also forgot to tell you that I'm going to enter the top 40 of the Sky Fire Martial ranking." Yi Chunfeng replied with a smile. With that, Yi Chunfeng no longer paid attention to the gloomy Jiang Yijuan. He inserted his identity token into the gap in the light door, opened it, and entered the heavenly solar ray. After entering the heavenly solar ray, Yi Chunfeng discovered that he had appeared in a fiery purgatory with an extremely high temperature. A winding stone path ran through the entire fiery purgatory. The stone path was surrounded by boiling magma. Waves of hot wind spread out from the magma, blowing against one's face and causing them to feel extremely painful. Just as Yi Chunfeng stepped onto the stone path, his sharp perception suddenly sensed danger behind him. A light flashed beneath his feet as he dodged the sneak attack in an extremely small space. At the same time, he threw out a powerful punch. Bam! Yi Chunfeng's fist, which was filled with a force of 10,000 kilograms, heavily struck the 6th-level spirit beast that had ambushed him. The powerful force directly exploded his body, turning him into a cloud of light mist. One point, when Yi Chunfeng saw the number 1 on his identity token, he knew that every time he killed a 6th-level spirit beast, he would be able to obtain 1 point. The amount of points he accumulated would directly determine his ranking on the Sky Fire Martial ranking. Come on, let me see how difficult this heavenly soul array is. Chapter 67. Pung, pung. The moment Yi Chunfeng rushed into the fiery purgatory, 3 scalding fireballs flew out from the fiery red magma. In the next moment, these 3 fireballs transformed into 3 6th-grade spirit beasts. Then, they surrounded Yi Chunfeng and attacked him. Yi Chunfeng didn't panic even though he was besieged. A terrifying physical strength burst out from his body, and the powerful energy shook the 3 Class 6 spirit beasts so hard that they couldn't get close to him. Point star. After pushing back the 3 Class 6 spirit beasts with a single kick, Yi Chunfeng pointed his finger gently. Rays of starlight shot out and penetrated the heads of the 3 Class 6 spirit beasts. After killing the 3 Class 6 spirit beasts, Yi Chen-feng continued to follow the only stone path in the fiery purgatory, rushing towards the end of the first space of the heavenly soul array. As he went deeper, more and more Class 6 spirit beasts jumped out from the scorching magma to sneak attack Yi Chen-feng. However, the enemies in the first space of the heavenly soul array were limited in strength and couldn't pose a threat to Yi Chen-feng. It was as if he had entered a no-man's land, killing enemies with irresistible force. When he killed 97 Class 6 spirit beasts, he arrived at the end of the first space of the heavenly soul array. He broke the array pattern restriction with one punch and entered the second space of the heavenly soul array. The second space was exactly the same as the first space. It was still the fiery purgatory. However, the enemies in the second space of the heavenly soul array were upgraded from Class 6 spirit beasts to Class 1 beast illusionists, and their points increased from 1 to 3. Strength of 10,000 pounds. Facing the attacks of enemies of the same realm, Yi Chen-feng increased his physical strength to 10,000 pounds. He killed his way into the fiery purgatory and fought fiercely with the enemies in the second space. As his physical strength continued to rise, one enemy after another was blown up by him. Under his almost crazy killing, the points he obtained increased rapidly. After about half an hour, Yi Chen-feng, who was full of fighting spirit, reached the end of the second space. He broke the array pattern restriction and entered the third space. The third space of the heavenly soul array was far more difficult than the second space. In the third space, there were not only Class 2 beast illusionists, but also Class 3 beast illusionists. Scarlet Heaven Sword. In order to conserve his energy, Yi Chen-feng took out Scarlet Heaven Sword from his Chinquan bag and charged into the third layer space. Elder Lu, you really have a good eye. Yi Chen-feng has already been in the heavenly soul array for more than 2 hours. Based on this speed, I'm afraid he has already reached the third space. Elder Tan calculated the time and praised. After all, with Yi Chen-feng's strength as a Grade 1 beast illusionist, and this was his first time challenging the heavenly soul array, it was truly rare for him to reach the third space. I feel that the third layer of space is not Yi Chen-feng's limit. I feel that he might be able to reach the fourth layer of space. After witnessing Yi Chen-feng's monstrous talent, Elder Lu was full of confidence in him. That's impossible. With his cultivation level, it's impossible for him to pass through the third space. Elder Tin shook his head in disbelief. I believe that Yi Chen-feng will give us a surprise, Elder Lu said faintly. Just as Elder Tan had guessed, Yi Chen-feng encountered a lot of resistance in the third layer space. In particular, the continuous appearance of Grade 3 beast illusionists posed a great threat to him. If Yi Chen-feng hadn't comprehended the essence of shape-shifting phantom steps, he would have been defeated long ago. Just as Yi Chen-feng wielded Scarlet Heaven Sword and killed a Grade 2 beast illusionist with one slash, a Grade 3 beast illusionist who had been lurking for a long time suddenly launched a sneak attack. A fist filled with scorching hot energy struck Yi Chen-feng's back. Although Yi Chen-feng used his physical strength to neutralize most of the attack, he was still injured. The blood in his body churned violently as he spat out a mouthful of blood. Wong! An ear-piercing sword sound suddenly rang out. A sharp sword ray was like a bolt of lightning, shattering the second attack of the Grade 3 beast illusionist and splitting his body in half. Instant kill. Yi Chen-feng executed half-step sword form and killed the Grade 3 beast illusionist in one slash. Bang, bang, bang. At the moment of instant kill, 3 more enemies appeared and attacked Yi Chen-feng consecutively. They didn't give him any chance to breathe and forced him to use half-step sword form to defend himself. Although half-step sword form was powerful, it also consumed a lot of energy. When Yi Chen-feng executed half-step sword form consecutively and killed 7 enemies, he was gradually losing strength. I must break through the third layer space of this heavenly soul array. Relying on his strong determination, Yi Chen-feng clenched his teeth and continued to attack. His body's potential was also stimulated bit by bit in this life and death situation. PFFF. When Yi Chen-feng executed half-step sword form, and killed a Grade 3 beast illusionist, his body was severely injured again. 2 Grade 3 beast illusionists seized the opportunity and attacked him consecutively, causing him to spit out blood continuously. His movements also became slightly sluggish. Seizing the opportunity, when Yi Chenfeng was injured, the 2 highly intelligent Grade 3 beast illusionists executed their soul skills at the same time. The 2 soul skills fused together and formed a fiery figure. It was like a meteor with a long tail crashing towards Yi Chenfeng. Facing the fusion soul skills of the 2, Yi Chenfeng, who was standing on the narrow stone path, couldn't dodge and could only take it head-on with his strength. Half-step sword form, break for me. Yi Chenfeng took a deep breath and held the Scarlet Heaven sword tightly as he went forward. Following an ear-piercing sword sound, the surface of the Scarlet Heaven sword surged with a sharp sword aura. The terrifying sword aura was unparalleled. Chi! A sound was heard. The fusion soul skills of the 2 Grade 3 beast illusionists were directly split apart by the half-step sword form and dissipated in midair. Before the 2 of them could react, a strange sword aura flashed in midair and cut off their heads, ending their lives. Realm breakthrough. After using all his strength to kill the 2 of them, Yi Chenfeng was on the verge of exhaustion and couldn't hold on any longer. At this moment, he didn't suppress his realm anymore. His overflowing soul power instantly erupted and poured into all the meridians in his body, fusing with the blood egg in his soul spirit. In the next moment, a strong aura burst out from his body and pushed his strength to rise steadily. He easily broke through the bottleneck of his realm and broke through to the Grade 2 beast illusionist realm. After breaking through, Yi Chenfeng's almost depleted soul power recovered by more than half. His fighting strength also increased by several folds. The Grade 3 beast illusionists were no longer a threat to him. Kill! Seeing the enemies jumping out of the lava, Yi Chenfeng roared and used Form Displacement Phantom to kill his way into the encirclement and started a crazy massacre. Chapter 68. Yes, there's a change in the Heavenly Fire martial ranking. Elder Lu and Elder Tan, who were waiting in the main hall, noticed the white light shining from the jade wall and immediately cast their gazes on it. Jiang Yijuan, he made it to the Heavenly Fire martial ranking. Looking at the change in the jade wall, Elder Tan and Elder Lu found Jiang Yijuan's name at the end of the jade wall. Elder Lu, I said that Jiang Yijuan has a chance to make it to the Heavenly Fire martial ranking. Now, do you still think that Yi Chenfeng will succeed? Elder Tan revealed a faint smile and asked, This Jiang Yijuan's strength is not bad, but Yi Chenfeng has yet to come out of the Heavenly Soul Array, right? Maybe he can create a miracle. Elder Lu said slowly, but his tone was much weaker. Elder Lu, stop joking. Putting aside the fact that it's his first time in the Heavenly Soul Array, just his strength as a level 1 beast illusionist is enough to determine that he won't be able to make it to the Heavenly Fire martial ranking. Elder Tan retorted, Let's wait patiently. Elder Lu took a deep breath and said, After about a minute, the Heavenly Fire martial ranking changed again. Jiang Yijuan's ranking went up again to the 49th place. Yes, someone came out. After the change in the jade wall, a groan suddenly sounded in the silent main hall. A figure flew out of the array light door and landed on the cold ground in a sorry state. Jiang Yijuan. When Elder Tan saw Jiang Yijuan lying on the ground with blood dripping from the corner of his mouth and his clothes severely damaged, his eyebrows twitched slightly. He had thought that Yi Chenfeng would end his challenge before Jiang Yijuan. However, the reality was completely different from what he had imagined. 49th place, I finally made it to the Heavenly Fire martial ranking. Jiang Yijuan wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and got up from the ground. When he saw the ranking on the jade wall, he revealed an excited smile. Yes, where's Yi Chenfeng? Where did he go? After confirming that he had made it to the Heavenly Fire martial ranking, Jiang Yijuan immediately searched for Yi Chenfeng. He wanted to ruthlessly provoke him, but he realized that he wasn't in the main hall. Elder Tan, where did Yi Chenfeng go? Jiang Yijuan asked Elder Tan, who was testifying for them. Yi Chunfeng hasn't come out of the heavenly soul array. Elder Tan said. What? With his strength, how could he hold on for so long? Jiang Yijuan's expression changed as he spoke in disbelief. His results can't be better than mine. He must be hiding somewhere to buy time. Jiang Yijuan comforted himself with a gloomy expression. Buzz, buzz. Just as Jiang Yijuan was comforting himself, a blinding white light shone out from the ranking jade wall. The names at the end of the ranking jade wall changed again. A name that Jiang Yijuan, Elder Tan, and the others couldn't believe appeared at the end of the ranking jade wall. Impossible, this can't be true. The joy of charging up the heavenly fire martial ranking disappeared without a trace. Jiang Yijuan rubbed his eyes with all his might, unable to accept the reality in front of his eyes. A trace of unease appeared in his heart. Yi Chunfeng, he really did it. Elder Lu's mood was the complete opposite of Jiang Yijuan's. Seeing that Yi Chunfeng had ascended the heavenly fire martial ranking, he was sincerely happy for Yi Chunfeng. Elder Tan, I wasn't wrong, right? This Yi Chunfeng will definitely give us a huge surprise, Elder Lu said with a smile. Elder Lu, you have sharp eyes. This Yi Chunfeng's talent might even surpass Fu Yueyue and Lin Fuxin. Elder Tan took a deep breath and suppressed the shock in his heart as he praised. The ranking jade wall has changed again. Just as Elder Lu and Elder Tan were discussing Yi Chunfeng, the ranking jade wall changed again. Yi Chunfeng's results improved again, surpassing Jiang Yijuan to be ranked 49th. This can't be real. I must be dreaming. He can't be so powerful. Thinking about his bet with Yi Chunfeng, Jiang Yijuan had a strong sense of unease in his heart. A trace of cold sweat flowed down his forehead. At this moment, in the fourth space of the heavenly solar ray, Yi Chunfeng was bathed in blood as he fought with two Class 4 beast illusionists. In order to kill the two of them, Yi Chunfeng increased his physical strength to the maximum and merged it with his soul power, reaching a strength of 25,000 pounds. Blood Serpent Seal. Yi Chunfeng's left hand quickly formed a series of complicated seals. A lifelike blood serpent instantly turned into a blood-red palm print and forced the Class 4 beast illusionist to retreat. Following that, ripples appeared in the air and a sharp sword radiance shot out like lightning. It directly split the Class 4 beast illusionist's body and killed him. After killing a Class 4 beast illusionist, Yi Chunfeng's pressure was greatly reduced. In a flash, he closed in on the Class 4 beast illusionist who was forced back by the blood serpent seal and launched a thunderous attack at him. Bang! The heavily injured level 4 beast illusionist was hit by Yi Chunfeng's strongest attack. His entire body was immediately filled with cracks. When the 25,000 kilograms of force rushed into his body, he let out a painful howl. His entire body exploded, turning into a cloud of light and dissipating in the air. Huff! Huff! The fourth space of the heavenly solar ray is indeed very difficult. Yi Chunfeng had used up a lot of soul power and physical strength to kill his way to the middle of the fourth space. However, after experiencing life and death situations, Yi Chunfeng's understanding of sword aura had increased by another level. He had comprehended the essence of the concept of shape-shifting illusion. The concept of shape-shifting illusion was the concept of shadow. Only by grasping the essence of the concept of shadow could one condense a speed shadow and cultivate shape-shifting illusion to the first level. So, a faint light flashed under Yi Chunfeng's feet as he increased his speed to an unimaginable level. He moved around on the narrow stone path, dodging the attacks of the level 4 beast illusionists who tried to ambush him like a ghost. As Yi Chunfeng moved faster and more nimbly, an afterimage faintly appeared behind him. The appearance of this afterimage slightly increased Yi Chunfeng's speed and allowed him to easily dodge the attacks of the Class 4 beast illusionists. Just as Yi Chunfeng was using shape-shifting illusion and dashing towards the end of the stone path, he suddenly felt a strong sense of danger from the depths of his heart. His entire body spun around twice and dodged an extremely fast spear attack. Class 5 Beast Illusionist. Looking at the black-clothed man who was holding a black spear and blocking his way, Yi Chunfeng revealed a serious expression. From the aura that the black-clothed man was emitting, he had reached the realm of a level 5 Beast Illusionist. If he was at his peak, he had the confidence to kill a Class 5 Beast Illusionist. However, at this moment, he was severely exhausted and couldn't unleash his full strength. More importantly, his escape route was blocked by the 6-level 4 Beast Illusionists who were chasing after him, leaving him with no way out. Let's fight! Facing a strong opponent, Yi Chunfeng erupted with an unprecedented battle intent. As he let out a loud roar, he was like an arrow leaving the bow. With an ear-piercing sound, he closed in on the rank 5 Beast Illusionist at an extremely fast speed. Chapter 69. Half-Step Sword Form. This sword, no matter if it was the power or the sword form, it had reached perfection. The terrifying sword form swallowed the world and ruthlessly slashed towards the rank 5 Beast Illusionist who was blocking him. The shocking sword light flashed in front of the rank 5 Beast Illusionist's eyes. He didn't dodge and welcomed the sword light with his spear. The black spear was like a dragon emerging from the sea, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws as it rushed forward. Boom! The two powerful forces clashed together and immediately set off a huge wave. The powerful force caused Yi Chunfeng's arms to go numb. He lost control of his body and fell backwards. Facing the half-step sword form head-on, the rank 5 Beast Illusionist didn't have it easy either. The terrifying half-step sword form passed through the black spear and penetrated his arm, tearing open his arm. A sword wound so deep that one could see his sternum appeared on his chest. Just as Yi Chunfeng fell to the ground, a rank 4 Beast Illusionist suddenly approached him. A fist filled with terrifying soul power ruthlessly smashed onto his back. If Yi Chunfeng didn't reach the large success stage of the flesh refinement realm and his physical body's defense had greatly increased, this fist would have injured his internal organs and made him lose his ability to fight. After receiving a heavy blow to his back, Yi Chunfeng spat out a mouthful of blood. The blood in his body started to boil violently. Without giving him a chance to take a breather, several Beast Illusionists charged towards him. Deep in danger, Yi Chunfeng held the life-saving stone in his hand. He didn't care about the cost, and used the remaining soul power in his body to display the half-step sword form. He condensed a destructive sword light and attacked in all directions. At this moment, Yi Chunfeng was like an Azura bathed in blood. He wasn't afraid of death and only knew how to kill. Under the crazy attacks, the Beast Illusionists who surrounded him were constantly forced to retreat. The sharp sword light continuously broke through their defenses and attacked their bodies. Soon, there were crisscrossing sword marks on their bodies. However, there were too many Beast Illusionists surrounding Yi Chunfeng. There were many attacks from tricky angles and continuously hit Yi Chunfeng's body. Soon, Yi Chunfeng's body was filled with bloody holes. The blood that flowed out dyed his clothes red. Yi Chunfeng seized the opportunity when the two level 4 Beast Illusionists were pushed back by the sharp sword radiance and suddenly attacked. A blurred shadow appeared behind him and increased his speed. He slashed the body of a level 4 Beast Illusionist who couldn't dodge in time. After the successful surprise attack, Yi Chunfeng took advantage of the opening and continued to attack. After killing 3 rank 4 Beast Illusionists with all his might, he used up the last bit of his soul energy and crushed the life-saving stone, disappearing from the 4th space of the Heavenly Soul Formation. 39th place. Am I seeing things? It's his first time challenging the array, and he actually made it into the top 40. Is this guy really human? After Yi Chunfeng killed a few Class 4 Beast Illusionists, the ranking Jade wall changed again. His ranking went up by 2 places and entered the top 40, ranking 39th. It could be said that Yi Chunfeng's heaven-defying result had set a new record in the Sky Fire Martial House. No one had ever entered the top 40 on their first attempt at the Heavenly Soul Array. Impossible. This is impossible. This can't be real. He can't be so powerful. Jiang Yijuan couldn't accept this fact and roared in his heart. Demon, This Yi Chunfeng is a demon. His talent definitely surpasses Fu Yuiwei and Lin Fuxin. After witnessing Yi Chunfeng's stunning results, Elder Tan couldn't help but gasp in praise. With the strength and talent he had displayed, Elder Tan believed that he would be able to enter the top 10 of the Sky Fire Martial ranking in less than a year. More importantly, he was only 15 years old and was the youngest person on the Sky Fire Martial ranking. Just as everyone was stunned by Yi Chunfeng's heaven-defying ranking, a blood-covered Yi Chunfeng fell out of the array light door. I wonder what rank I can get with 1,357 points. Yi Chunfeng, who was weak, simply recovered the soul energy he had expended. He got up from the ground and came to the grand hall. He's finally out. Looking at Yi Chunfeng, who was covered in blood and looked like an Azura from hell, many people revealed looks of awe. Chunfeng, you've broken through. Elder Lu noticed the change in Yi Chunfeng's realm and asked in surprise. Yes, I was lucky enough to break through in the heavenly soul array. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said humbly. He cast his sharp gaze at Jiang Yijuan and said, Jiang Yijuan, I made you wait for a long time. Wait for me to recover, then we'll go to the Great Soul Arena to compete. I was too injured in this battle. I can't compete. Jiang Yijuan braced himself and said sullenly. The difference in strength between each rank on the Sky Fire Martial ranking was huge. Jiang Yijuan was only ranked 50th, but Yi Chunfeng had broken into the top 40. It was enough to show the huge difference in strength between the two. At this time, competing with Yi Chunfeng was no different from asking for a beating. Jiang Yijuan didn't dare to accept the challenge. What, are you afraid? Yi Chunfeng's lips curled up slightly, revealing a sinister smile as he said. Looking at the bloodstains on Yi Chunfeng's firm face and feeling the blood-red color and hostility in his deep black eyes, Jiang Yijuan became timid. He regretted his rashness. He shouldn't have listened to Shindaheng and provoked Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng, I admit that I'm not as strong as you. Let's forget about the battle. Jiang Yijuan gritted his teeth and lowered his noble head, admitting defeat in front of everyone. Jiang Yijuan, you can't be such a coward, right? Where did your arrogance go? And we just invited Elder Tan to be a witness. You can't have forgotten, right? Jiang Yijuan surrendered, but Yi Chunfeng didn't want to let him go and said aggressively. Jiang Yijuan, the Sky Fire Martial House has a clear rule. If you go back on the bet, you have to compensate the other party with 500 low-grade soul crystals. Elder Tan slowly walked over and said, 500 low-grade soul crystals, I'll pay. Thinking of Yi Chunfeng's heaven-defying ranking, Jiang Yijuan couldn't summon any fighting spirit. More importantly, he was afraid that Yi Chunfeng would use this opportunity to cripple him. Therefore, he obediently took out 500 low-grade soul crystals to compensate Yi Chunfeng. Elder Lu, Elder Tan, I'm going back. Although he didn't manage to teach Jiang Yijuan a lesson, the low-grade soul crystals were more important to Yi Chunfeng. After putting the 500 low-grade soul crystals into his Chinquan bag, Yi Chunfeng turned and left. Not long after Yi Chunfeng left the heavenly soul array, his heaven-defying results exploded in the Sky Fire Martial House. Almost everyone knew his name. Third brother, have you heard the news? Yi Chunfeng reached 39th place in his first attempt at the heavenly soul array and forced Jiang Yijuan to compensate him with 500 low-grade soul crystals. After hearing about Yi Chunfeng's heaven-defying results, Shinda Shui and Shinta Yi felt deeply uneasy. They immediately went to Shinta Heng's courtyard. I already know about it. Shinta Heng nodded and said in a lukewarm tone, making it impossible for others to guess his true thoughts. Third brother, this kid is too big of a threat to us. We have to get rid of him. Otherwise, he will become a huge threat to us. Shinda Shui said malevolently. How do we get rid of him? Shinta Heng lectured in a low voice. Yi Chunfeng's talent has probably attracted the attention of the martial house master. If we deal with him now, it will be like hitting a rock with an egg. Then what should we do? We can't just watch him grow. Shinda Shui said unwillingly. Chapter 70. In the pitch-black night, countless stars hung in the sky, surrounding the bright crescent moon. The starlight and moonlight merged together. From afar, it looked like a boundless Milky Way. After a few hours of rest, Yi Chun-feng completely recovered his exhausted soul power and healed his injuries. He woke up from his recovery. I wonder if I have a chance to pass the fourth layer of the heavenly soul formation in my current state. After recovering to his peak state, Yi Chun-feng felt that his body was filled with energy. More importantly, after experiencing the life and death tempering in the heavenly soul formation, the pill poison in his body had completely disappeared. Now that he had consumed the Juku spirit pill, he could unleash its strongest medicinal effect. After eating a simple meal to fill his stomach, Yi Chun-feng walked under the bright moonlight towards the gravity cave. He finally consumed the Juku spirit pill and cultivated bitterly for a period of time. The reason why Yi Chun-feng chose to cultivate in the gravity cave instead of the better spirit gathering formation was because he wanted to use the pressure in the gravity cave to forcefully compress the medicinal effect of the Juku spirit pill into his organs and cultivate the third layer of the 6 meridian divine constellation realm. This elder, I want to enter the gravity cave to cultivate in the 7-layer space. When Yi Chun-feng arrived at the cave of gravity, he saw a skinny old man in a black robe guarding the entrance of the cave of gravity. He walked up to the old man and said, 7-layer space. The black-clothed elder raised his wrinkled eyelids and looked at Yi Chun-feng. He coldly reminded, young man, don't bite off more than you can chew. With your rank 2 beast illusionist cultivation, cultivating in the 7-layer space is no different from courting death. Elder, I am confident that I can withstand the pressure of the 7-layer space. Although Yi Chun-feng's cultivation was not high, he had cultivated the flesh refinement realm to the large success realm. It could be said that his body's endurance surpassed ordinary earth beast generals. No, I won't allow you to fool around. With your strength, you can only cultivate in the 1st or 2nd layer of the gravity cave. The black-clothed elder was unmoved and coldly refused. Senior brother Yi, you just entered the heavenly fire marshal ranking and you came to the gravity cave to cultivate. You are so hardworking. Just as Yi Chun-feng was vexed over how to persuade the black-clothed elder to let him go to the 7-layered forces space to cultivate, Feng Xiaoxiao walked in. She was wearing a tight, black training robe that accentuated her seductive figure. Her jet black hair draped over her shoulders, and her facial features were exquisite. Are you that Yi Chun-feng? Hearing Feng Xiaoxiao's words, the black-clothed elder's eyebrows twitched slightly. The way he looked at Yi Chun-feng changed slightly. Obviously, he had also heard of Yi Chun-feng's heaven-defying results and was extremely shocked. Yes, please allow me to enter the 7-fold space of the gravity cave to cultivate. Yi Chun-feng nodded and pleaded. Gravity cave's 7-fold space. Feng Xiaoxiao jumped in fright and hurriedly said, Senior brother Yi, the gravity cave's 7-fold space is extremely terrifying. The pressure it produces is enough to crush a Class 1 Earth Beast expert into a meat patty. You must not force yourself. Do you think I'm a type to force myself? Yi Chun-feng rubbed his nose and bitterly smiled. Have you really decided to enter the gravity cave's 7-fold space to cultivate? Seeing the confidence in Yi Chun-feng's eyes, the black-clothed elder recalled the message from the martial house master and asked again. Yes, please grant me my wish, elder. Yi Chun-feng nodded and said, All right, since you insist on entering the gravity cave's 7-fold space to cultivate, I will give you a chance. Remember, the gravity cave is different from other places. Cultivating in there is extremely dangerous. If you can't endure it, remember not to force yourself. Otherwise, your life will be in danger. The black-clothed elder solemnly reminded. I understand. I won't joke around with my life. Yi Chun-feng nodded and promised. The gravity cave's 7-fold space requires 50 low-grade soul crystals per day. How long do you plan to cultivate? The black-clothed elder asked. All right, I'll cultivate for 10 days first. Yi Chun-feng pondered for a moment and handed over 500 low-grade soul crystals to the black-clothed elder. 10 days. Feng Xiaoxiao sucked in a cold breath. She didn't dare to imagine what it would feel like to cultivate in the gravity cave's sevenfold space for 10 days. Would his body directly collapse? Wait for me here. Follow me. After saying that, the black-clothed elder led Yi Chanfeng along a dark stone path into the depths of the gravity cave's sevenfold space. Be careful. Don't force yourself. The black-clothed elder was still worried and reminded him. Thank you. I will be careful. Yi Chanfeng took a deep breath and said. After saying that, he stepped through a light door formed by a large number of runes and entered the gravity cave's sevenfold space. After entering the gravity cave, Yi Chanfeng found that the light inside was a little dim. Before he could take a closer look, he instantly felt a terrifying pressure surging over and engulfing his entire body. Bang! Caught off guard, Yi Chanfeng's legs trembled slightly and his knees smashed into the ground. His entire body's muscles trembled violently. What a terrifying pressure. Under the pressure of the pressure, Yi Chanfeng could clearly feel his skin begin to crack, and his blood vessels were exposed. All the cells in his body were unable to withstand the pressure and began to collapse. Yi Chanfeng was in so much pain that his entire body twitched and broke out in cold sweat. If Yi Chanfeng hadn't reached greater success in the flesh refinement realm, the sevenfold space's gravity cave's sevenfold space would have easily destroyed his body and turned him into dust. This is not a place you should be. If you don't want to die, quickly leave. Just as Yi Chanfeng circulated his 6 meridian god shield and bitterly resisted the pressure and healed his body, a cold voice suddenly entered his ears. Following the source of the voice, Yi Chanfeng raised his head with difficulty and vaguely saw a black-clothed person sitting cross-legged in a dark corner. When Yi Chanfeng vaguely saw her face, he was slightly shocked because he discovered that the owner of the voice was actually a woman. What a terrifying woman! Although the light was dim, Yi Chanfeng could clearly feel that this woman had completely adapted to the pressure of the gravity cave's sevenfold space. She was cultivating with ease. I can endure, Yi Chanfeng said stubbornly. He erupted with his strongest physical strength to resist the mountain-like pressure and sat cross-legged at the entrance with difficulty. After sitting cross-legged, Yi Chanfeng placed a Juku spirit pill that he had prepared beforehand into his mouth. Immediately, a large amount of medicinal energy was released from his mouth and surged into his body like a tide. Pain, heart-wrenching pain. The Juku spirit pill was a 9th-grade pill and contained extremely terrifying medicinal energy. When Yi Chanfeng used the sevenfold space's force to forcefully compress the violent medicinal energy into his internal organs, he immediately felt as if his body was pierced by sharp steel needles. Coupled with the extreme pressure of the sevenfold space's force, the double pain almost made him collapse. Endure, I can definitely endure. Yi Chanfeng gritted his teeth and endured the inhuman pain as he cultivated the 6 meridian god shield with difficulty. Overestimating yourself. Chapter 71. It has been an hour. This Yi Chanfeng actually managed to persevere and enter a state of cultivation. This is unbelievable. The black-clothed elder was worried about Yi Chanfeng's safety and had been standing guard outside the gravity cavern's 7th layer space. When he saw Yi Chanfeng, covered in blood, entering a meditative state like an old monk, resisting the terrifying pressure and entering a state of cultivation, a look of disbelief appeared on his face. It seems like our Sky Fire Martial House has really picked up a treasure this time. The black-clothed elder revealed a faint smile. He was no longer worried about Yi Chanfeng's safety and turned to leave. At this moment, although Yi Chanfeng had forcefully entered a state of cultivation, the pain in his body had not lessened. His muscles were being torn apart by the terrifying pressure and were being repaired by his 6 meridians divine shield. Between the tearing and repairing, Yi Chanfeng's physical strength slowly increased. His physical strength also increased slightly. Compared to the physical pain, the pain from Yi Chanfeng's forceful refinement of his internal organs was even more intense. Yi Chanfeng borrowed the terrifying pressure, and every time the Juku elixir entered his internal organs, He felt as if his heart was being pierced by thousands of arrows. The pain made him hover between life and death, and he was on the verge of collapse. As more and more of the Juku elixir entered his internal organs, the terrifying Juku elixir crazily tempered his heart and lungs, tearing his meridians and causing large amounts of blood to seep out. It could be said that Yi Chunfeng's actions were extremely daring. If it wasn't for the fact that his blood and qi were like smoke, or that his mind wasn't firm, he might have failed at the last step and exploded. However, as the blood seeped out, the impurities in Yi Chunfeng's internal organs were slowly expelled out of his body. His body began to slowly transform. He actually managed to persevere. The black-clothed girl didn't expect that Yi Chunfeng, who was a grade 2 beast illusionist, would be able to persevere under the gravity cavern for an entire day. She revealed a look of astonishment. This was because even she didn't dare to enter this place to cultivate when she was a grade 3 Earth Beast General. However, Yi Chunfeng was able to do it as a grade 2 Beast Illusionist. This made her interested in Yi Chunfeng. Time passed day by day. Yi Chunfeng, who relied on his willpower to persevere, gradually adapted to the intense pain and successfully entered a state of meditation. After 8 days of bitter cultivation, Yi Chunfeng refined all of the medicinal power of the Juku spirit pill into his internal organs, forcing out a large amount of impurities, allowing his internal organs to complete about 20% of their transformation. If Yi Chunfeng used all of the medicinal power of the Juku spiritual pill to cultivate, then he would have a high chance of breaking through to the 3rd level of the Beast Illusion Master Realm. But if he used it to cultivate the 6 Meridians Divine Shield, he would only be able to cultivate to 20% of the organ's refining realm. Yi Chunfeng silently sensed the changes in his body. He was pleasantly surprised to find that his pure physical strength had increased from 15,000 kilograms to 20,000 kilograms. His battle prowess had greatly increased. There were still 2 days before the cultivation deadline. Yi Chunfeng didn't continue to cultivate. He erupted with powerful physical strength and withstood the huge spatial pressure. He stood up with difficulty and left the gravity cavern's 7th layer. When Yi Chunfeng left, the black-clothed girl who had been cultivating in a dark corner opened her eyes. She swept a glance at him and entered a state of cultivation again. After leaving the gravity cavern, Yi Chunfeng immediately felt that his muscles were filled with strength. His soul power that was compressed to the limit had increased by a small amount. This made him deeply experience the benefits of cultivating in the gravity cavern. This made him firm in his desire to continue cultivating. Yi Chunfeng, why did you come out early? Could it be that you couldn't hold on any longer? The black-clothed elder asked with a faint smile when he saw Yi Chunfeng come out 2 days early. Although he said that, the black-clothed elder knew that a rank 2 beast illusionist cultivating in the gravity cavern's 7th layer for 8 days was definitely a record in the Sky Fire Marshal House. No, I plan to continue for another 15 days. Yi Chunfeng shook his head. He took out 750 low-grade soul crystals from his spatial bag and handed them to the black-clothed elder. Can you really withstand the gravity cavern's 7th layer after another 15 days? The black-clothed elder raised his eyebrows and revealed a shocked expression. He looked at Chu Li as if he was looking at a monster. He couldn't imagine how a rank 2 beast illusionist like Yi Chunfeng could have such terrifying physical endurance. Yes, I have basically adapted to the gravity cavern's 7th layer. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, Good, then you can continue cultivating. The black-clothed elder repeatedly sized up Yi Chunfeng. He discovered that although his cultivation didn't increase, his body's aura was much stronger. The shock in his heart was even more intense. Thank you, elder. After speaking, Yi Chunfeng turned and left, returning to the gravity cavern's 7th layer. Why is he back again? The black-clothed woman who had just entered a state of cultivation suddenly discovered that Yi Chunfeng had returned. She revealed a trace of surprise. Feeling the black-clothed woman secretly observing him, Yi Chunfeng responded with a smile. He took out the 2nd Juku spiritual pill from his spatial bag and swallowed it. He endured the pain from the body tempering and continued to cultivate the 6 meridians divine shield. Time passed day by day, as his 5 viscera and 6 bowels absorbed more of the Juku spiritual pill. Yi Chenfeng's breathing became longer and more powerful. The qi and blood in his body became stronger. A thin layer of qi appeared on the surface of his skin, helping him resist the gravity cavern's 7th layer. Around 12 days later, Yi Chenfeng used the powerful pressure to forcefully temper the 2nd Juku spiritual pill into his 5 viscera and 6 bowels. He cultivated the viscera refinement realm to 40%. His pure physical strength had reached a shocking strength of 25,000 kilograms. His cultivation realm had also increased, and unknowingly, he was on the verge of a breakthrough. Phew! Yi Chenfeng opened his tightly shut eyes and exhaled. His breathing was continuous and deep, and his aura was abundant. This was the sign of the viscera refinement realm. If one cultivated the viscera refinement realm to the greater success realm, one could faintly emit a stormy wave of aura between breaths. It was extremely terrifying. It is probably impossible to cultivate the viscera refinement realm to more than 50% in a short period of time. Although Yi Chenfeng still had a Juku spiritual pill, after consuming 2 Juku spiritual pills consecutively, his body had developed a strong resistance to the Juku spiritual pill. Helpless, he took out the grade 8 Earth Essence pill and prepared to break through to the rank 3 Beast Illusionist realm. Yi Chenfeng ate a simple meal to fill his stomach. He took out the Earth Essence pill from his spatial bag and swallowed it. He then circulated the soul-devouring art to refine it. In order to lay a solid foundation, Yi Chenfeng, who was on the verge of a breakthrough, was not in a hurry to break through. Instead, he constantly suppressed his cultivation realm and waited for his soul power to overflow. Chapter 72. After a day, Yi Chenfeng, who had completely consolidated his cultivation base, ended his 25 days of bitter cultivation. Before he left, he intentionally glanced at the black-clothed lady who was sitting cross-legged in a dark corner. Her body was glowing with a faint green light. He was a little surprised by her strength. The Sky Fire Martial House is indeed full of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. I reckon that even if I use my half-step sword force, I still won't be her match. Yi Chenfeng shook his head and shifted his gaze away from the unfathomable black-clothed lady. He left the cave of gravity. Ji Qingxue, why did she come to my place? Just as Yi Chenfeng was walking towards the small courtyard by the cliff, his sharp senses detected Ji Qingxue's aura outside his courtyard. Other than Ji Qingxue, there were 3 other unfamiliar auras. One of them was even a grade 6 beast illusionist. Ji Qingxue, don't expect Yi Chenfeng to stand up for you. He can't even protect himself now, so he can't help you. A tall, well-built man dressed in luxurious clothes with sunken eyes looked at the tall and charming Ji Qingxue with lecherous eyes and said with evil intentions, "Shengwan Fengyuan, don't do anything rash. Otherwise, I will complain to the disciplinary elder." Ji Qingxue warned with a pale face when she met the man's burning gaze. Complain? Complain about what? Shengwan Fengyuan revealed a sarcastic smile. I like you. Can't I pursue you? Will the disciplinary elder care about this? Ji Qingxue, I will give you a chance now. Be my woman and serve me well. I guarantee that no one will find trouble with you. You're shameless. I will never agree to it. Just give up on it. Ji Qingxue was so angry that her eyes turned red and her body trembled. However, Shengwan Fengyuan was a grade 6 beast illusionist and ranked 35th on the Sky Fire Martial ranking. She was no match for him. Don't agree? Shengwan Fengyuan revealed a cold smile. Do you know the consequences of not agreeing? I really want to know what the consequences will be if she doesn't agree. Before Ji Qingxue could speak, a bone-chilling voice entered Shengwan Fengyuan's ears. Following the source of the voice, Shengwan Fengyuan saw Yi Chenfeng walking over step by step. Yi Chenfeng. Shengwan Yuan didn't expect Yi Chenfeng to have come out of seclusion. Feeling the oppressive aura from his body, Shangguan Yuan's pupils shrank, and his face turned serious. Why are you mute? I'm asking you a question. Tell me, what are the consequences if she doesn't agree? Although Yi Qinfeng didn't want to have anything to do with Ji Qingxue, he wouldn't stand by and watch Ji Qingxue get bullied. Moreover, he had a feeling that Ji Qingxue was being bullied because of him. Yi Qinfeng, don't think that you can look down on others just because you're on the Heaven Fire Marshal ranking. Let me tell you, I really don't think much of you. I don't take you seriously either. Yi Qinfeng sneered. Light flashed beneath his feet as he suddenly launched an attack at Shangguan Yuan. When he was 3 meters away from Shangguan Yuansheng, Yi Qinfeng's entire body erupted with strength. All of his 25,000 gene of strength was channeled into his fist as he punched at Shangguan Yuansheng's chest. Shangguan Yuan didn't expect Yi Qinfeng to be so bold as to disregard the rules and attack in public. He hurriedly covered his chest with his palms to defend against Yi Qinfeng's punch. Boom! When the fist and palm collided, a terrifying force exploded. The powerful force caused Shangguan Yuan's arms to go numb. His blood and qi were in turmoil as his body uncontrollably retreated. Yi Qinfeng, you're crazy. Do you know the consequences of disregarding the rules and attacking in public? Shangguan Yuan quickly circulated the soul art to dispel the numbness in his arms as he roared loudly. Soul-shaking finger, soul-breaking. Yi Qinfeng ignored Shangguan Yuan's warning. He gently pointed with his index finger, stirring up ripples of energy. A foot-long finger light twisted in the air like an electric snake and shot toward Shangguan Yuan. Yi Qinfeng, stop. If you don't stop now, don't blame me for being impolite. Shangguan Yuan used 8 steps, overtaking Cicada, to dodge the soul-breaking finger and cursed angrily out of humiliation. As for his 2 companions, they didn't expect Yi Qinfeng to suddenly attack and were momentarily stunned. Transference Phantom. The moment Shangguan Yuan dodged, Yi Qinfeng's body flashed and appeared in front of Shangguan Yuan in a stride, continuing to attack him. Yi Qinfeng, since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wish. Shangguan Yuan was enraged by Yi Qinfeng's aggressive attacks. The phantom of a black bear appeared on his body. After fusing with his spiritual beast, the black bear, Shangguan Yuan's strength rose steadily. Billowing soul power fused into his right leg. Soaring firmament kick. Shangguan Yuan swept through the air and kicked out a sharp leg shadow with a terrifying momentum. It shattered layers of air and brought along a powerful airflow as it kicked towards Yi Qinfeng. 40,000 kilograms of strength break. Facing Shangguan Yuan's soul skill, Yi Qinfeng didn't dodge. He controlled the soul power in his body to fuse with his strength and exploded with 40,000 kilograms of strength to meet the attack. Boom! A thunderous sound rang out. Yi Qinfeng relied on his absolute strength to meet Shangguan Yuan's mid-grade spirit-rank soul skill, soaring firmament kick. A powerful rebound force spread rapidly with the 2 of them as the center, causing Ji Qingxue and the other 2 to retreat. What? Seeing Yi Qinfeng block the soaring firmament kick with his bare hands, Shangguan Yuan's heart was in turmoil. As an expert ranked 35th on the Heavenly Fire Marshal ranking, Shangguan Yuan was very confident in his own strength. He couldn't believe that Yi Qinfeng had the strength to fight against him in less than a month. Just as he was in shock, he suddenly realized that Yi Qinfeng had disappeared in front of his eyes. In the next moment, he felt danger behind him. He instinctively wanted to dodge and take out his spiritual weapon. But the moment he dodged, he felt a strong hand clamp down on his neck. A terrifying force instantly suppressed his resistance and pulled his entire body up like pulling a carrot. With a back throw, he was ruthlessly smashed into the ground, smashing a large crater in the ground. While Shangguan Yuan was in a daze from the fall, he felt his ankle being grabbed by Yi Qinfeng and lifted up forcefully. As he screamed, his body was smashed into the ground again, and a large amount of blood flowed out of his body. Stop, stop! Shangguan Yuan, who felt like his entire body was falling apart, was in extreme pain. He was scared and shouted in pain, If you don't stop, I will definitely complain to the punishment elder. Complain? Yi Chen-feng sneered and said, Today's matter started because of you. You were the one who started first. I was just upholding justice. Do you think the punishment elder will believe your words? Shangguan Yuan, who was covered in blood, said angrily with a fierce glint in his eyes. It doesn't matter if the punishment elder believes me or not. You have to remember that if this matter continues to be investigated, the unlucky one won't be me. Yi Chen-feng sneered and said, Do you think the Heavenly Fire Marshal House will punish me for a useless piece of trash like you? Although Shangguan Yuan wanted to refute, he knew that Yi Chen-feng was speaking the truth. With Yi Chen-feng's talent, which had alarmed the Marshal House Master, he would be the unlucky one in the end. You win. Chapter 73. Chen-feng, thank you. Ji Qingxue was completely stunned by Yi Chen-feng's strength. She never thought that Yi Chen-feng would be able to defeat Shangguan Yuancheng, who was ranked 35th on the Heavenly Fire Marshal ranking, in just over a month after entering the Heavenly Fire Marshal House. At this moment, she felt a trace of regret in her heart. She regretted using Yi Chen-feng as a shield and hurting him. However, when she thought of Master Chun, who was the first person to touch her heart, the regret in her heart lessened by a lot. This is nothing. You don't have to take it to heart. If it wasn't for me, they wouldn't have targeted you. Yi Chen-feng shook his head and said indifferently. Ji Qingxue looked at Yi Chen-feng's cold face and lightly bit her alluring red lips. Chen-feng, your grandfather. No, Patriarchy asked me to pass a message to you. He wants to see you and return something that belongs to you. Thank you. When I have time, I will make a trip to the Yi clan. Yi Chen-feng nodded and said, Oh right, this is for you. Yi Chen-feng took out the remaining Juku spirit pill that was practically useless to him and gave it to Ji Qingxue. Chen-feng, this is too precious. I can't accept it. Seeing Yi Chen-feng give the Juku spirit pill to her, Ji Qingxue's eyes revealed a complicated expression as she declined. I can protect you for now, but I can't protect you forever. If you don't want to be bullied, you need to have strength. After saying that, Yi Chen-feng forcefully stuffed the Juku spirit pill into Ji Qingxue's soft hands and turned to return to his small courtyard. Yi Chen-feng, thank you. Seeing Yi Chen-feng's departing figure, Ji Qingxue's heart was filled with mixed feelings. She never thought that in the end, she would have to rely on Yi Chen-feng, who she had never placed in her eyes. With my current strength, I wonder if I can fight against a rank 1 earthly beast general if I use half-step sword force. In the battle with Shangguan Yuancheng just now, Yi Chen-feng had tested the results of his hard work. He had broken through to become a rank 3 beast illusionist and cultivated his viscera refining realm to 40%. He had the ability to defeat a normal rank 6 beast illusionist. And if he used half-step sword force, Yi Chen-feng felt that he should be able to fight against a level 1 earth beast general. However, whether or not he could defeat his opponent would still need to be tested in battle. At dusk, the afterglow of the setting sun shone upon the mountains and rivers, interweaving into a floating picture that was incomparably magnificent. After resting for several hours, Yi Chen-feng recovered to his best condition. He glanced at the dazzling sunset outside the window and muttered to himself, It's time to go back and take a look at the Yi family. Yi Chen-feng didn't have any feelings for the Yi family, but he had deep feelings for his foster father, Yi Chen-feng. If Yi Xuanxiang hadn't taken him in when he was young and raised him, there wouldn't be the current Yi Chen-feng. With regards to Yi Xuanxiang's sudden death, Yi Chen-feng had always been suspicious. This time, when he returned to the Yi family, he would definitely find out the truth and take revenge for his foster father, whom he was indebted to. Elder Liu, I would like to return to Zijin Imperial City. I wonder if I can borrow a green-winged dove? Yi Chen-feng stepped on the sunset and found Elder Liu, asking to borrow a green-winged dove. Of course, Elder Liu agreed without hesitation. After seeing Yi Chen-feng's monstrous talent, Elder Liu valued him even more. He completely believed that as long as Yi Chen-feng was given enough time and space, he would soar to the heavens. Thank you, Elder Liu. Yi Chen-feng gratefully said. With the help of Elder Liu, They managed to borrow an azure-winged dove with a wingspan of over 10 meters and feathers that were a shade of azure. They left the heavenly fire Marshall House, crossed the boundless purple cloud mountain range, and flew back to the outskirts of the violet gold imperial city. Wait for me here. After Yi Chanfeng gave the order to the highly intelligent green-winged dove, he returned to Zijin Imperial City alone and walked towards the Yi family residence. Strolling along the spacious streets of Zijin Imperial City, looking at the luxurious buildings on both sides of the street and the young women who were laughing and playing with each other, Yi Chenfeng's heart was as calm as still water. After embarking on the path of cultivation, Yi Chenfeng no longer felt much about the colorful world of the secular world. The only thing he yearned for now was to cultivate against the heavens and break through the void. I'm here. About an hour later, Yi Chenfeng passed through the night and arrived at the brightly lit Yi family residence. Looking at the residence in his memory, Yi Chenfeng recalled some memories. Please help me pass on the message that Yi Chenfeng has come to keep the appointment. Yi Chenfeng stood outside the grand entrance of the Yi family residence and said in a deep voice, "Young master, you're back." Hearing the guard's report, the old housekeeper immediately walked out of the residence and said excitedly, "You called the wrong person. I'm no longer a member of the Yi family." Yi Chenfeng said without a trace of emotion and walked into the familiar yet strange Yi family residence. "Chenfeng, you're finally back." Yi Chenfeng had just walked into the lush green front yard when the Yi family head, Yi Qingchuan, hurriedly walked out with a group of Yi family disciples to welcome him. Looking at the familiar faces, Yi Chenfeng didn't feel a trace of excitement in his heart. Among these people, other than Yi Qingchuan and Yi Xiling, who treated him slightly better, the others had never treated him as a member of the Yi family. "Yi family head, I heard from Ji Qingxue that you want to give me something." Yi Chenfeng looked at Yi Qingchuan calmly and asked indifferently, "Yes, Qingfeng, let's talk in my study." Hearing Yi Chenfeng's address and seeing his cold eyes, Yi Qingchuan smiled bitterly. However, he didn't blame Yi Chenfeng. After all, he was the one who expelled him from the Yi family when he was at his most difficult time. It was reasonable for him to not recognize the Yi family. "Okay." Yi Chenfeng nodded and followed Yi Qingchuan to his study. "Qingfeng, expelling you from the Yi family is the one thing I regret the most in my life. I apologize to you. For the sake of your adoptive father, I wonder if you're still willing to come back." Yi Qingchuan personally poured a cup of tea for Yi Chenfeng and looked at his chiseled face as he asked softly, "Yi family head, let bygones be bygones. I'm now wholeheartedly cultivating and don't want to be affected by worldly matters." Yi Chenfeng shook his head and tactfully refused. "Sigh, actually, I've already thought of the ending, but I'm still a little unwilling to give up." Yi Qingchuan said with a bitter smile, "Chenfeng, the thing in this jade case was found by your adoptive father on your body when he found you. It might be related to your birth. Right now, it's returned to its rightful owner," Yi Qingchuan said as he took out a jade case from his bosom and handed it to Yi Chenfeng. "Yes." Hearing Yi Qingchuan's words, Yi Chenfeng raised his eyebrows and immediately opened the jade box. He found a piece of dark golden wood that was about 1 inch long and had a smooth surface without any patterns lying in silence. Taking out this piece of dark golden wood, Yi Chenfeng suddenly felt a blood connection. He hesitated for a moment, then bit his finger and pressed it on the dark golden wood. Immediately, Yi Chenfeng felt a strong suction force coming from the wood, greedily absorbing his blood. When a strand of golden blood that was hard to detect fused into the dark golden wood, suddenly, a golden light shone out. 7 words faintly appeared on the wood. Eastern Continent, Abyss of Hell. Chapter 74. Patriarchy. Thank you for returning it to me. Yi Chenfeng gently stroked the dark golden wood. He felt as if it was a piece of his flesh, connected to his blood vessels and inseparable. "Chenfeng, I'm not afraid of you laughing at me. I studied this piece of wood for 3 years, but I couldn't find anything special about it. But in your hands, it could produce such a strange phenomenon. It shows that your background is not simple. Now that it has returned to its rightful owner, I hope you don't blame me for only returning it to you now." Looking at the golden words that appeared on the dark golden wood, Yi Qing Chuan shook his head and sighed. I'm already very grateful that you can return it to me. Yi Chunfeng lightly said, That's right, Patriarchy. I came to the Yi clan this time because I have an important matter to ask you. Do you want to know the cause of your adoptive father's death? Yi Qing Chuan asked. Yes, I want to know how my adoptive father died. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, I don't believe that he would suddenly die. Sigh, regarding your adoptive father's death, my Yi clan has done a lot of investigation. We also perform an autopsy on his body and suspect that he might have died from poison. Yi Qing Chuan sighed softly. Poison. Yi Chunfeng's face sank and his eyes shot out a sharp look. Patriarchy, I wonder what kind of poison my adoptive father was poisoned with. Do you have any suspects? This is only our speculation. We can't confirm whether he was really poisoned or not. As for the suspects, there are many, but we don't have any concrete evidence. Yi Qing Chuan shook his head and said, Patriarchy, I wonder who you suspect the most? Yi Chunfeng pondered for a moment and asked, The Jiang clan. Yi Qing Chuan said, The Jiang clan. Yi Chunfeng's pupils shrank, and he whispered, Patriarchy, I understand. It's getting late, I'll go back first. After saying that, Yi Chunfeng thoughtfully turned around and left without any hesitation. The night was getting darker. Yi Chunfeng rode the green-winged dove back to the Sky Fire Marshal House and fell into deep contemplation. Although it was possible that Yi Qing Chuan had used someone else to do the dirty work, Yi Chunfeng felt that the Jiang family was the biggest suspect. Jiang clan, you better pray that you have nothing to do with my adoptive father's death. If not, I will make you pay with your own blood and make your Jiang clan disappear from the Zijin kingdom. Yi Chunfeng's eyes were filled with viciousness as he spoke with killing intent. Patriarch, according to reliable sources, Yi Chunfeng returned to the Yi family tonight, stayed for more than an hour, and then left. Not long after Yi Chunfeng left the Yi residence, the Jiang family received the news and immediately reported it to the Jiang family patriarch, Jiang Zhongxiong. Why did he come back? Jiang Zhongxiong frowned and muttered to himself. Father, do you think the Yi family wants to pull Yi Chunfeng back? Jiang Yijuan's father, Jiang Shiyu, guessed. At this time, Yi Qing Chuan definitely wants to pull Yi Chunfeng back to the Yi family. With him in charge, even if the throne changes hands, the Yi family will not be affected much. However, will Yi Chunfeng be willing to go back? What bargaining chips does the Yi family have? Jiang Zhongxiong's finger lightly tapped the table as he fell into deep thought. Shiyu, don't make a move against the Yi family and the Ji family for now. Let's wait for the first prince to take control of the situation and become the successor to the throne. Jiang Zhongxiong said gloomily. Also, contact Yijuan and ask him to work hard in his cultivation. When the time is right, we will eliminate Yi Chunfeng at all costs. Yes, father. I will contact Yijuan now. Jiang Shiyu nodded. Jiang Zhongxiong placed all his hopes on Jiang Yijuan, but he did not know that Jiang Yijuan had already suffered a great loss at the hands of Yi Chunfeng. Early in the morning, rays of gentle sunlight shone in through the glass, waking up Yi Chunfeng from his cultivation. After waking up, Yi Chunfeng ate a simple meal and took out the dark golden wood that was closely related to his life. What kind of wood is this? Why is it connected to my bloodline? Yi Chunfeng carefully sized up the dark golden wood and released his soul power to penetrate it. My soul power can't penetrate it? No matter how Yi Chunfeng tried, the soul power in his mind could not penetrate the dark golden wood. His soul power could not penetrate it. Yi Chunfeng pondered for a moment, then bit his finger and pressed it on the dark golden wood. He tried to use his blood to communicate with it. Suction. This time, Yi Chunfeng clearly felt that the dark golden would produce a suction force that continuously sucked the blood in his body into the wood. As the dark golden would devour more and more blood, the connection between them became closer and closer. However, after losing a large amount of blood, Yi Chunfeng felt a little dizzy. If not for the fact that the blood in his body was like smoke, he would not have been able to withstand the dark golden wood's devouring. After about half an hour, the dark golden wood suddenly shone with a dazzling golden light and merged into Yi Chenfeng's body. In the next moment, the soul-devouring brain reacted to it, and the truth of this dark golden wood gradually appeared in his mind. The Chaos Divine Wood was one of the 3 mystical trees in the world. It contained the power of chaos, and the tree could devour all kinds of energy. A mature Chaos Divine Wood was 10,000 feet tall, and when it swayed, it could shatter heaven and earth, destroy stars, and even destroy a low-level plane. According to the analysis of the soul-devouring brain, the inch of Chaos Divine Wood that Yi Chenfeng had obtained was a sapling of the Chaos Divine Wood. It was a first-rate treasure in the world. If news of it spread outside, it would shake the entire Duhan continent and cause the oldest sects in the Duhan continent to fight over it. What exactly is my background? How can an abandoned child like me have such a rare treasure? Yi Chenfeng muttered to himself. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that his background was not simple. After learning about the origins of the Chaos Divine Wood, Yi Chenfeng calmed his heart and tried to refine the sapling. If he could fuse the sapling into his body, then he would have the opportunity to comprehend the most mysterious power in the world, the power of chaos that surpassed the 5 elements, and establish the most solid foundation. Although Yi Chenfeng had a good idea, the moment the young primal chaos would enter his body, it did not react at all. No matter what method Yi Chenfeng used, he was unable to communicate with the young primal chaos wood, much less refine it. Sigh. It seems that my current strength is not enough to refine the sapling. After trying to no avail, Yi Chenfeng sighed helplessly and gave up. However, he was not discouraged. He believed that one day he would be able to refine the sapling, which was closely related to him, and comprehend the most mysterious power of chaos in the world. Strength. I have to increase my strength as soon as possible. Although Yi Chenfeng had broken the Sky Fire Marshal House's records time and time again, and had the strength to contend with a Grade 1 Earth Beast General, he knew that this was far from enough. He had to use the Marshal House's resources to continue cultivating. However, after cultivating in the Gravity Cavern's 7th layer space for 25 days, Yi Chenfeng had consumed a large number of low-grade soul crystals. Now, he had less than 300 low-grade soul crystals, which was not enough for his high consumption. Chapter 75. Walking into the quaint mission tower, Yi Chenfeng saw that there were over 100 coiled dragon pillars in the spacious mission tower. On each pillar, there were jade slips of different colors. Inside the jade slips were the bounty missions. According to the difficulty, the missions in the mission tower were divided into inner and outer sect missions. Inner sect missions were missions offered by the Sky Fire Marshal House. The difficulty was slightly lower, but the rewards were also relatively lower. Outer sect missions were missions offered by the outside world. Usually, they would be offered in many places. The difficulty was higher, but the rewards were higher. According to the difficulty of the mission, it was further divided into 3 grades: bronze, silver, and gold. For example, gold missions, although the rewards were very generous, the difficulty was also unusually high. Usually, only Earth Beast General disciples dared to accept them. At this moment, in the mission tower, most of the disciples were surrounding the silver missions. They were releasing their soul power into the jade slips to choose a mission that suited them. Beside the gold missions, there were only 3 or 4 disciples. All of them had reached the level of a first-grade Earth Beast General. The Sky Fire Marshal House is indeed full of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. There are actually so many people who have reached the level of an Earth Beast General. Sensing the strength of these people, Yi Chenfeng was slightly surprised. After all, among the 3 great clans of the Kingdom of Zijin, only the Jiang clan had a first-grade Earth Beast General. Neither the Yi clan nor the Ji clan had anyone who had broken through to the Earth Beast General realm. With my current strength, it will be slightly difficult to accept a gold mission. However, the rewards of a silver mission are too low. It won't be able to satisfy my needs. Yi Chenfeng was vexed as he thought. After hesitating for a while, he walked towards the gold mission area and chose a mission. Kill a 4th-grade fire pattern tiger and bring back its beast core. Reward: 2,000 low-grade soul crystals. Kill a three-tailed spirit fox in the black clay swamp and bring back its tail. Reward: 2,500 low-grade soul crystals. Kill a fourth-grade earth beast general expert, Mo Ku, who was abandoned by the Sky Fire sect, and bring back his head. Reward: 8,000 low-grade soul crystals. Slaughter a first-grade sect, Black Mountain sect, and bring back the heads of 3 sect leaders. Reward: 30,000 low-grade soul crystals. The difficulty of this outer sect mission is indeed much higher than the inner sect mission. Annihilating a first-grade sect. I wonder if there is anyone in the Sky Fire Marshal House who can complete such a difficult mission. After entering the Heavenly Fire Marshal House, Yi Chunfeng gained a better understanding of the illusory sects of the Fighting Spirit continent. Generally speaking, a force with a rank 5 Earth Beast General could be considered a first-grade sect. As for the gold rank mission, there was actually a mission to exterminate a rank 1 sect. This made Yi Chunfeng suck in a breath of cold air. He was shocked at the difficulty of this mission. Yes, go to the Cemetery of Death to pick Zoishes. Each stock of Zoishes can be exchanged for 1,000 low-grade soul crystals. Moreover, it's a mission completed by 2 people working together. Just as Yi Chunfeng was about to give up on the extremely difficult gold rank mission, he unexpectedly discovered a gold rank mission that piqued his interest. More importantly, this mission had already been accepted by someone. As long as he accepted it, he could immediately set off for the Cemetery of Death. I'll choose this. Yi Chunfeng hesitated for a moment before reaching out to take the jade slip. He then headed to the elder's office to register the mission. Coincidentally, he met the elder on duty at the mission tower, Elder Yu, who had a grudge with him. Cemetery of Death mission. The gray-robed Elder Yu looked at the jade slip that Yi Chunfeng handed over. His turbid eyes flashed, and he revealed a thought-provoking smile. Yi Chunfeng, your courage is commendable. You dare to accept a gold rank mission as a rank 3 beast illusionist. Not bad. Seeing the smile on Elder Yu's face, Yi Chunfeng frowned slightly. He felt a trace of suspicion. Could there be some unknown danger in the Cemetery of Death? Elder Yu, I wonder who the other person who accepted the Cemetery of Death mission is? You don't have to worry about the other person's strength. Her name is Lin Kazhu, and she is ranked 9th on the Heavenly Fire Marshal ranking. She is known as the number 1 rank 1 Earth Beast General in the Heavenly Fire Marshal House. Elder Yu slowly said, Number 1 rank 1 Earth Beast General. After knowing the other person's identity, Yi Chunfeng felt a little relieved. With Lin Kazhu's strength and talent, the Heavenly Fire Marshal House would not let anything happen to her. Although Yi Chunfeng's cultivation was low, he still had many life-saving trump cards. All right, the mission has been registered. Go wait at the entrance of the Marshal House tomorrow morning. There will be a green-winged dove there to bring you to the Cemetery of Death. Elder Yu gave the mission jade slip back to Yi Chunfeng and instructed, Yi Chunfeng nodded his head and kept the mission jade slip in his chinquan bag. He turned around and left. Yi Chunfeng, do you really think that the Cemetery of Death mission is simple? That is a place where people are eaten. With your strength, you will definitely die. Looking at Yi Chunfeng's departing figure, the corners of Elder Yu's mouth curled up, revealing a cold smile. The first rays of the morning sun shone brightly in the east. The dark veil of the deep sky was shaken off. Early in the morning, Yi Chunfeng stepped on the gentle sunlight and arrived at the entrance of the Heavenly Fire Marshal House. From afar, he saw Lin Kazhu, who was wearing a tight-fitting black outfit. Her figure was tall and graceful, and her long green hair draped over her shoulders. She was standing there waiting for him. Although Lin Kazhu's appearance was not as devastatingly beautiful as Ji Qingshui's, her cold and elegant temperament was also extremely charming. Sorry, I'm late. Yi Chunfeng walked in front of the cold and elegant Lin Kazhu and said apologetically, You're the one who accepted the Cemetery of Death mission. Sensing that Yi Chunfeng was only a rank 3 beast illusionist, Lin Kazhu's eyebrows tightly knitted together and her expression became somewhat ugly. And, looking at Lin Kazhu's cold expression, Yi Chunfeng nodded his head. With your rank 3 beast illusionist cultivation, you dare to accept the Cemetery of Death mission? Do you not want your life anymore? Lin Kazhu bluntly criticized. Why? Is the Cemetery of Death very dangerous? Yi Chenfeng asked. It's extremely dangerous. Not to mention you. Even I have the possibility of dying if I enter the Cemetery of Death. I advise you to give up on this mission. Furthermore, I don't want to team up with you to enter the Cemetery of Death. Lin Kazhu coldly rejected. Kazhu, don't underestimate him. He's the most famous person in the Heavenly Fire Martial House recently. He's known as a rare genius in the Martial House. Just as Lin Kazhu rejected Yi Chenfeng, Elder Yu slowly walked over and said, You're Yi Chenfeng. Hearing Elder Yu's words, Lin Kazhu immediately guessed his identity. Her cold expression eased a little. Elder Yu was afraid that Yi Chenfeng would give up and lose the best opportunity to eliminate him. So he urged, All right, don't waste any more time. The Cemetery of Death may seem dangerous, but as long as you're careful and cooperate with each other, you'll be able to pluck the Een Zoisha and return safely. You've really decided to enter the Cemetery of Death? Lin Kazhu looked at Yi Chenfeng with a burning gaze and asked solemnly, I believe that I'll be able to return safely from the Cemetery of Death. Yi Chenfeng nodded his head and said confidently, All right, let's go. Seeing Yi Chenfeng's confident appearance, Lin Kazhu didn't say anything else. She jumped onto the green-winged dove with Yi Chenfeng and left the Heavenly Fire Martial House. Goodbye, Yi Chenfeng. Chapter 76. The Death Cemetery is just ahead. The green-winged dove flew for more than 10 hours and arrived above the Death Cemetery in the evening. What a dense death aura. Yi Chenfeng stood on the green-winged dove and looked into the distance. He discovered that the entire Death Cemetery was shrouded in a dense death aura, making it impossible to see its appearance with the naked eye. Creepy, ghostly cries could be heard coming from the depths of the cemetery. It was eerie and terrifying. It's late now, so it's not suitable to enter the Death Cemetery. Let's rest at the edge of the Death Cemetery for the night. Tomorrow morning, we'll enter the cemetery to search for the Een mushroom. Lin Kazhu suggested after the green-winged dove landed. All right. Yi Chenfeng nodded and agreed. Screech. Just as Yi Chenfeng and Lin Kazhu found a place to rest at the edge of the Death Cemetery and started a bonfire to rest, an ear-piercing bird cry entered their ears. Through the gradually darkening sky, Yi Chenfeng saw a golden eagle that was larger than the green-winged dove. It flapped its huge wings and flew towards them like a beam of golden light. It's someone from the Thunder Mountain Martial House. I didn't expect someone from them to accept the Death Cemetery mission. Looking at the rapidly approaching golden eagle, Lin Kazhu frowned and coldly said, She obviously didn't have a good impression of the Thunder Mountain Martial House disciples. Senior Sister Lin, how strong is the Thunder Mountain Martial House? Yi Chenfeng asked as he had just entered the Sky Fire Martial House and was unfamiliar with the other martial houses. The area we are in is called the Northern Snow Region. It's located in the northwestern part of the northern continent. There are 3 third-grade sects in the Northern Snow Region. They are the Sky Fire Sect, the Thunderbird Mountain, and the Storm Valley. Among them, the Storm Valley is the strongest. They are the undisputed overlord of the Northern Snow Region. The Storm Martial House they established is also the most terrifying of the 3. The Thunderbird Mountain and the Sky Fire Sect are similar in strength. Our Sky Fire Martial House and the Thunder Mountain Martial House are also similar in strength. However, due to competition, the relationship between the 3 great martial houses is not harmonious. Therefore, you must be on guard against their schemes. With your strength, it is very likely that they will launch a sneak attack on you. Lin Kazhu solemnly warned. Don't worry, Senior Sister. I will be careful. Yi Chenfeng nodded. As he spoke, the golden eagle landed at the edge of the Cemetery of Death. Then, 2 young men in dark blue robes leaped down from the golden eagle. They had extraordinary bearings, and their faces were full of arrogance. Yin Song Qi, it's actually the 2 of them. Looking at the 2 Thunder Mountain Martial House disciples who appeared at the edge of the Cemetery of Death, Lin Keju's pupils shrank as a trace of seriousness appeared on her face. Senior Sister Lin, do you know the two of them? Seeing the slight change in Lin Keju's expression, Yi Chenfeng asked. During the exchange between our two great martial houses, I once exchanged blows with Yin Yu. At that time, I barely won against him. However, his strength is very astonishing. I'm afraid that he is even stronger than Shinahong. As for Song Qi, he is slightly weaker than Yin Yu. However, he has also broken through to the rank 1 Earth Beast General Realm. If they join forces, you and I will definitely not be a match for them. Lin Keju nodded and said in a heavy tone. She was somewhat regretting letting Yi Chenfeng come. Lin Keju discovered the two of them. Yin Yu and Song Qi also discovered Lin Keju at the first moment. Looking at Lin Keju's hot figure and exquisite face, Yin Yu's eyes revealed a trace of ruthlessness as he thought of the humiliation she brought to him. However, Yin Yu and Song Qi still had some misgivings about Lin Keju's strength. However, when they discovered that Yi Chenfeng was a rank 3 beast illusion master, they were stunned for a moment. Immediately after, they revealed malicious expressions and slowly walked over. Lin Keju, I didn't expect to meet you here. However, why did you bring a piece of trash with you? He can't be a gigolo that you're keeping, right? Yin Yu's gaze burned as he looked at Lin Keju's enchanting body and deliberately provoked her. Yin Yu, you better clean your mouth. Otherwise, I won't be polite to you. Lin Keju had already expected that Yin Yu and Song Qi would come to provoke them after discovering Yi Chenfeng's strength. Her face sank as she coldly warned them. Haha, won't be polite? How are you going to be rude to us? Do you think you're a match for us two brothers? Song Qi arrogantly laughed. He didn't put Yi Chenfeng in his eyes at all. You guys could try. Lin Keju's expression darkened as a powerful wave of soul force erupted from her body. A fiery red python that was dozens of meters long and covered in fiery runes vaguely appeared from her body. The reason why Lin Keju strongly counterattacked was because she knew that blindly retreating would only make Yin Yu and Song Qi even more arrogant. Therefore, she wanted to use her strength to intimidate them. Without waiting for Lin Keju to make a move, an ear-piercing sword cry rang out from Yi Chenfeng's body. In the next moment, the Scarlet Heaven Sword appeared in Yi Chenfeng's hand. A sword ray containing half-step sword force shot out like a bolt of lightning, cutting through layers of air. It carried an astonishing sharpness as it attacked the two of them. What? Sensing the terror of half-step sword force, Yin Yu and Song Qi, whose attention was completely on Lin Keju, felt their hearts tremble. They instinctively wanted to dodge. However, Yi Chenfeng's sword was too sudden and too fast. In the blink of an eye, it struck their bodies. The sword broke through their defenses and left a deep sword wound on their chests. A large amount of blood flowed out. Feeling the pain in their chests, Yin Yu and Song Qi's expressions changed greatly. They couldn't imagine that Yi Chenfeng, who was a rank 3 beast illusion master, could injure them. Yin Yu and Song Qi were shocked by Yi Chenfeng's attack power. Lin Keju also revealed a shocked expression. The way she looked at Yi Chenfeng changed greatly. Courting death, feeling the burning pain in their chests, Yin Yu and Song Qi were enraged. Two terrifying soul beasts emerged from their bodies, and their powerful auras locked onto Yi Chenfeng and Song Qi. Let's go. Although Yi Chenfeng's attack power exceeded Lin Keju's expectations, she still didn't believe that Yi Chenfeng could contend against a rank 1 Earth Beast General. Seeing that Yin Yu and Song Qi had fused with each other's soul beasts, she decisively grabbed Yi Chenfeng's hand and fled towards the eerie cemetery of death. Where do you think you're going? Yin Yu and Song Qi, who had both fused with their soul beasts and reached their peak strength, roared. They used their speed soul skills, wanting to stop the two of them. Fire Shadow Blade Mountain. As Yin Yu and Song Qi closed the distance between them, Lin Keju's body erupted with scorching soul power. It transformed into a gigantic saber mountain that carried a formidable destructive power. With a single slash, it forced Yin Yu and Song Qi to retreat. Blade Mountain, This Lin Kazhu actually cultivated the high-grade spirit rank soul skill, Fire Shadow Blade Mountain, to the large success stage. After being forced back by the Fire Shadow Blade Mountain, Yin Yu and Song Qi's expressions changed slightly. They hesitated for a moment and allowed Yi Chunfeng and Lin Kazhu to pull away. Go! Chapter 77. Actually, if we didn't run just now, they wouldn't have been able to do anything to us. After entering the sinister and horrifying cemetery of death, Yi Chunfeng smiled bitterly as he looked at the densely packed graves and the piles of white bones scattered around them. Yi Chunfeng, even if your attack power is shocking, the difference between a beast illusionist and an earth beast general is too great. You can't rely on pure attack power to make up for it. Lin Kazhu still didn't believe in Yi Chunfeng's strength. Maybe. Yi Chunfeng rubbed his nose and didn't argue anymore. He followed behind Lin Kazhu and looked for a temporary place to rest. All right, let's rest here tonight. Lin Kazhu found a relatively high slope in the cemetery of death that didn't have any graves. She jumped onto it with Yi Chunfeng and waited for dawn to arrive. Senior sister, do you feel that the soul power in your body is flowing slower? Just as Yi Chunfeng was sitting cross-legged on the slope and silently meditating, he suddenly felt that his soul force was being suppressed by a mysterious power. The soul force in his body suddenly slowed down, and he hurriedly asked Lin Kazhu, "Yes, my soul power is also being suppressed. It seems that the rumors are true. The scariest thing about the cemetery of death isn't the mysterious ghosts in the cemetery, but the yin qi in the cemetery. It can suppress the soul power in our bodies and limit our strength, preventing us from using our full strength." Lin Kazhu nodded her head and spoke with a serious expression. After receiving confirmation, Yi Chunfeng's eyes immediately lit up. Although his soul power was being suppressed, his physical strength wasn't. If everyone's soul power was being suppressed by the yin energy in the cemetery of death, then he would be able to use his physical strength to the maximum. When he met Yin Yu and Song Qi again, he would be able to use this advantage to take revenge. As the night deepened, the ear-piercing cries of ghosts could be heard. Streaks of green ghost fire were like meteors that streaked across the depths of the cemetery of death, causing people to tremble in fear. Someone's here? Just as Yi Chunfeng was sitting cross-legged on the slope and silently meditating, his sharp senses suddenly detected a very concealed soul power streaking across his body. He immediately became alert. What's wrong? Did something happen? Feeling the soul power surge in Yi Chunfeng's body, Lin Kazhu, who was meditating, suddenly opened her eyes and vigilantly asked, "I just felt that someone was secretly spying on us." A sharp gaze shot out from Yi Chunfeng's deep eyes as he looked through the dark night sky and densing energy and said in a serious tone, "Are you sure? How come I didn't feel anything?" Lin Kazhu said suspiciously with a frown. She did not believe that her spiritual perception was inferior to Yi Chunfeng's. Something's coming. Yi Chunfeng's pupils shrank. He stood up abruptly and took out the Scarlet Heaven Sword from his cosmos sack. Screech! Just as Yi Chunfeng finished speaking, a series of bone-chilling cries of ghosts rang out. Hundreds of legless ghosts floated in the air like the wind. Their facial features were blurry, and their bodies were one with the night sky. They howled as they attacked the two of them. So many specters. Lin Kazhu didn't have time to ponder why so many specters suddenly appeared. She quickly took out the mid-grade spirit artifact, Fire Crystal Battle Blade, from her Chinquin bag and shouted, "Yi Chunfeng, let's rush out." "All right." Yi Chunfeng nodded. A powerful force of qi and blood burst out from his body. A light flashed under his feet, and he charged into the group of ghosts like a bolt of lightning. The Scarlet Heaven Sword in his hand slashed out a sharp sword light, directly splitting two ghosts that got close to him in half. Undead? Yi Chunfeng discovered that the two specters that were split by the Scarlet Heaven Sword were actually showing signs of reforming their soul bodies. He revealed a trace of astonishment. Yi Chunfeng, these specters can borrow the death aura in the cemetery of death to reform their bodies. Normal attacks won't be able to kill them. We have to completely exterminate them. Lin Kazhu, who had a fire python's phantom on her body and was releasing a torrential fire aura, reminded him loudly. Got it. Yi Chenfeng nodded and kept the Scarlet Heaven Sword in his Chinquan bag. He circulated the 6 Meridians' divine shield and rapidly increased his physical strength. In the blink of an eye, Yi Chenfeng's physical strength had increased to 25,000 jin. The rich blood qi was like a smoke signal as it surged in his body. Pung, pung, pung. Faced with Yi Chenfeng's fists that were filled with blood qi energy, the specters exploded one after another without any suspense, turning into clouds of yin qi. As expected, the blood qi energy in my body is the nemesis of these specters. Yi Chenfeng was overjoyed that his blood qi attack was effective. He was like an invincible god of war as he continuously blasted out fist radiance that surged with qi energy. He cooperated with Lin Kazhu to break out of the encirclement. What a powerful strength. Witnessing Yi Chenfeng's astonishing speed in exterminating the specters and feeling the continuous burst of physical strength in his body, Lin Kazhu, who was not far from him, had a slight change in her expression. She realized that she had underestimated Yi Chenfeng. It was definitely not luck that he could repeatedly break the sky, fire Marshall House's records. Screech! Just as the two of them were about to break out of the encirclement, an ear-piercing cry of a ghost suddenly entered their ears. A 3-meter-tall ghost surrounded by dense yin qi and with exceptionally clear facial features stood in front of the two of them, blocking their path. Spectre King. Why would a Spectre King that is comparable to a Grade 1 earthly beast general appear in the periphery of the Cemetery of Death? Lin Kazhu felt that the appearance of these specters was very strange. A powerful specter like the Spectre King would normally only appear in the central region of the Cemetery of Death and would rarely appear in the periphery of the Cemetery of Death. Could it be that there was really someone who attracted the Spectre King and these specters here? A ridiculous thought popped up in Lin Kazhu's mind. Half-step sword force. While Lin Kazhu was hesitating, the Scarlet Heaven Sword turned into a scarlet ray of light and appeared in Yi Chenfeng's hand. A powerful sword force gushed out from his body and gathered in the Scarlet Heaven Sword, forming a sharp sword ray. With a shocking momentum, the sword ray slashed towards the Spectre King, who was blocking their path. Although the Spectre King's strength was far superior to Yi Chenfeng's, he was only a soul, and his defense was his greatest weakness. When the sword ray that contained the half-step sword force struck him, the Spectre King's body was immediately split apart. The half-step sword force within the sword ray continuously crushed his soul, not giving him the chance to absorb the yin qi to recover his soul. Witnessing the scene of Yi Chenfeng splitting the Spectre King in half, Lin Kazhu's heart trembled. She finally believed that Yi Chenfeng had the strength to fight against a Grade 1 earthly beast general. Let's go. Let's leave this place first. Yi Chenfeng shouted as he and Lin Kazhu rushed through the dense yin qi and headed towards the northwest.